repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED. But what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now, 615-576-5000.
Men, what if I told you that now you're able to get testosterone replacement therapy in the comfort of your own home? No more weekly trips to the doctor's office. We come to you 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Be seen by a licensed medical professional in the privacy and comfort of your own home or office. You decide. Schedule your appointment today at CoolSpringsMDformen.com.
Realizing Geico's great service and licensed agents are available at your fingertips is like realizing the plastic piece that comes with your pizza isn't a tiny doll table. It's to keep the box from touching the pizza.
Hey, the pizza's stuck to the box. Where's that little plastic thing?
Dolly needed it for her tea party.
It's something that's been right there in front of you all along, like the dedicated Geico claims team available to you in the event of an accident to get you back on the road quickly, or how your smartphone charges faster when you put it on airplane mode.
Wow, what if I put it on rocket mode?
It's something you can't believe you never realized before, like how Geico's industry-leading app lets you pay your bill, file a claim, manage your policy, or summon help when you need it. Or how those holes in your shower caddy are there so you can store your shampoo bottles upside down.
Showers happen fast when you're not waiting on shampoo.
Great service. It's just one of the many reasons to switch to Geico. They're all right there in front of you.
Genesis Diamonds' once-a-year spring extravaganza is here this weekend. 3 days of phenomenal savings store-wide. You save up to 35% off Genesis' already guaranteed best prices. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, and more. Plus special finance. You can even trade in your old jewelry for some amazing new designs from our world-class designers who flew in just for this. Extra savings on GIA-certified diamonds, too. It's our biggest sale all year. This Friday through Sunday only. And only at Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Golf fans, Pro Golf hits Nashville with the PGA Korn Ferry Tour Simmons Bank Open May 5th through the 8th, and you can win a VIP experience for 4 people. Text the word golf right now to 615-737-1025 to enter.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting 97.5 Murfreesboro, 106.3 Williamson County.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We're live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. Caroline Fenton is here today. Hello, Caroline.
Hello, how are we doing?
Outstanding. Ian Safar is here today. Hello, Ian.
What up, what up?
Okay, let's start on the press conference today. John Robinson, Mike Vrabel at Titans headquarters, and let me state for the record that it is nice.
It's bougie?
It's nice.
Okay.
The new headquarters, it's nice. And Joe Rexrode challenged me on this show yesterday to go to the press conference and ask the questions, right? Because
Yes,
I think Joe gets a little, testy when I maybe push the envelope with the media and asking questions and things of that magnitude.
I think that's fair, though.
Okay. So
Put
I
your
went
money where
there.
your mouth is.
Call to the bullpen, presented by whoever wireless. Call to the bullpen. I'm in there today, and people are asking questions about A.J. Brown, but sometimes you just have to get down to it. Sometimes you just have to. I know they're not going to like the question. They're not going to react. They're going to look at you mad. They might make fun of your question. They might whatever, but you can't tell somebody what to say. You can only ask a question. So I just asked the question, which is, we keep hearing all of the trade rumors, speculation, everything else that has to do with A.J. Brown. So I just asked John straight up, Could he be traded by Thursday?
Is there any chance that AJ could be traded between now and the draft?
I think I've spoke on that several times now, so do not foresee that happening.
Okay, there we go. First of all, I don't think he spoke on it several times. He talked to the team beat writer once. But you heard right there. I don't foresee that happening, period. Front page, ESPN.com, number one story, Devin Booker's got a hamstring strain. Number two story, Titans general manager John Robinson does not, quote-unquote, foresee the Titans trading A.J. Brown. And Joe, and I'm going to give credit where credit is due, Joe and I were talking with Luke Warsham, good guy, and we were talking after the press conference, and I was kind of, practicing my gossip, like throwing pitches in the bullpen before the radio show. And Joe brought up the whole foresee element here. The word foresee. As if that gives Robinson an out, that if Robinson decides between now and Thursday to trade A.J. Brown, he didn't say, I'm not going to trade A.J. Brown.
No.
He said, I don't foresee trading A.J. Brown. And that gives him a little bit of wiggle room. So let's analyze the word foresee, and what do you think that means? Do you, because I interpret it as the Titans are not going to trade A.J. Brown. Maybe I'm a dummy. Maybe I'm just taking them at their word. I believe that John Robinson is not trading A.J. Brown. But if the audio that we learned about yesterday, if that relayed story from A.J. Brown, from Tory Dandy to the agent who represents A.J. and Debo, if that story to A.J., to Debo, to Debo's mom on the camera that we all heard, if that is true, that the Titans are not going to go above $20 million a year for A.J. Brown, even though that the Titans have said that he's worth more, which I still don't totally believe. In fact, I don't not just totally believe it. I just don't believe it in general. But if they're not going to go above $20 million, then would that change things? If AJ is not going to be happy about the contract? And Corey Curtis today had a great point when we were talking after the press conference. And Corey Curtis was like, they have to know by Thursday if AJ signed or not signed. They have to know by next Thursday. And I thought about one specific player when he said that. That's Treylon Burks out of Arkansas. Treylon Burks very much has a similar game to A.J. Brown. He's great, catches the football, big body, can run with the football, great stats in college, didn't run great at the combine. Now, A.J. ran faster than Treylon. But if you're sitting there at 26 and Treylon Burks is available and he's perhaps the next A.J., well, if you don't know if you're going to sign A.J., then you almost have to pass on Treylon because you've got A.J. But if you're not going to have A.J. long-term, then why would you pass up on a guy that could be the next A.J. sitting there with the 26th pick? And so it enters my mind a lot about all the drama and all the gossip and just trying to put it together over the last couple of days. One, here's what I feel like we know. One, A.J. is not happy. Why is A.J. not happy? I don't know.
Money, probably.
Most likely. But A.J.'s not happy. Two, A.J.'s camp thought they were getting a deal done at the very beginning of March. So now here we are at the end of April, and if I thought I was getting my money at the beginning of March and I'm waiting at the end of April and it's still not coming, I would start to get testy. Two, the audio, Debo's mom's Instagram Live, where Debo tells his mom that Tory Dandy, the agent, told AJ that they're not going to offer more than $20 million even though they know he's worth it, which, again, I don't believe. I do not believe that the Titans told Tory Dandy, oh, yeah, we know AJ's worth way more than that, but we're not going to give it to him. I can't believe that.
I think that got mixed up in translation. That the Titans probably communicated something to Tory Dandy, and it was communicated to AJ, and then AJ communicated to Debo, and there's probably maybe a little bit of truth to that, but the Titans, I cannot believe, outright said it. Okay,
but let's, again, keep that would make AJ mad. And so AJ's not happy. And today they just kind of doubled down a little bit on, we love AJ. Those talks are private. We're going to keep them private. We'll make them public. We're not going to tell our moms on Instagram Live. Like, they clearly went that route. And then Robinson said, I don't foresee trading him. But then there's that foresee word. Foresee. Does that give John enough wiggle room to make a decision between now and a week from now and saying, you know what, Tory Dandy is just hell-bent on getting 26 a year for A.J. Brown. We're not doing it unless we give him a completely fake year, which you do have to be careful about. As much as I love the fake years and the money and inflate the price and everything else, you do have to be careful about it from one element, which is, what if A.J. is actually still good 5 years from now? Then are you going to pay him $43 million a season? And now, $43 million 5 years from now might not matter. But again, though, you do have to be at least a little careful about this. But I keep going back to this, which is Robinson pretty much said they're not trading him, right?
He left the door open.
So you think he left the door open?
It's almost like it's like saying I don't predict that happening. You would, if somebody told you, if you went to go get your car worked on and you asked the mechanic, will my car break down? He says, I don't predict that happening. That doesn't necessarily give me the most comfort in the world, but it makes me feel confident enough to drive out of the mechanic and expect that my car won't break down. And if I come back and it is broken down, then I can say, well, you said it probably wasn't going to happen. So it leaves a little possibility open that it could happen. I don't predict that happening. I don't foresee that happening. Don't count on it. But it also isn't an absolute positive, resolute answer.
Do you think he should have given a positive, resolute answer?
Not unless he's positive in his mind.
Do you think he was prepared to answer the direct question about that? And do you think that he walked in there knowing that his answer was going to be, I don't foresee that happening?
Probably so.
Okay.
I have to think that he was prepared to go into that press conference to answer questions about A.J. Brown.
But there's a difference between answering questions about A.J. Brown and answering the direct question
that question.
Are you, is there a chance that you trade him between now and Thursday? And he said, I don't foresee that happening. Ian, how do you interpret the word foresee?
I pretty much interpret it that they're not going to trade A.J. Brown, I think, for the most part. There's the foresee. It's going to be, if he's going to get traded, it's going to be before the draft, right? We've pretty much decided that. So there's
have to be.
So there's like a week. There's not much time to foresee, right? So, I mean, you're running out of time here as far as getting it done. So I think he pretty much said that he's not going to get traded.
Okay. So I want to have D. Mace on the show. We got TD, at 3 o'clock. I wanted to get D. Mace on the show. He's going to join us at 2:30. I figured that if anybody knows about contracts, wide receivers, it'd be Derek. Mm-hmm. He played in the same era with Terrell Owens, Randy Moss. And D. Mace is the only person who has actually been in AJ's shoes. So I want his thoughts on that, which we'll talk to him at 2:30 about. But let's get your phones on this, which, again, is that word foresee. A lot of times I can usually get a vibe from what you hear in a press conference. Like today, Vrabel was asked about Tannehill not being at workouts, was asked about players in general not being at workouts. Then he was asked about Tannehill specifically, which, by the way, shout out to Joe. Joe asked
that question.
Joe Rexrode asked the question of Vrabel about Tannehill not being there at workouts. And Vrabel gave the answer about every coach would want every player there because we like to coach them, but I've communicated or whatever. And my takeaway from what Vrabel said about the Tannehill thing, I think he's pissed. I think Vrabel's mad. But Vrabel didn't say he was mad. And when I hear the word foresee, I think to myself, is that like Floyd hearing David Poyle tell Outkick 360 that he wasn't thinking about firing Peter Laviolette right now? And then he did 2 days later. So that's how we're rolling today. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. And then John Robinson answers and responds to the Debo video. And it was very interesting, his response. I'll explain why that's next. This baseball season, turn Ks into cash and big hits into big wins with the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Right now, new customers can step up to the plate with a risk-free bet up to $1,000. Right now, sign up with just place your first bet, and FanDuel will refund you up to $1,000 back in site credit if you don't win. They have great promotions every day. It's a safe and secure app. You get paid fast, which is good. And you got tons of games to bet on. I mean, it's baseball. The volume of it makes it great. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook and my official sportsbook app. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up using the promo code JGM to get started with your risk-free first bet up to $1,000. That's promo code JGM. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. Real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt and restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Here they come, turn 4.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe. Join me for Chasing Checkers every Sunday morning at 8 as we talk all the big stories in NASCAR, IndyCar, and the motor racing world. We'll also talk to some of the big names in the sport. It's Chasing Checkers, presented by Apple Collision Centers and the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway on ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Winning this award is truly like winning the Super Bowl of car dealer awards for Mercedes-Benz.
Edwin Vickery, General Manager of Mercedes-Benz of Music City.
Culture eats strategy for lunch. You have to hit on all cylinders to win this award. You can strategize all you want. You got to still have the right tools, and our tools are our people.
Live the dream with 3-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best award winner, Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Go to mbofmc.com.
When it's more than just your lawn, it deserves the Kubota Z400. Get a head-turning offer on class-leading speed, agility, simple deck height adjustments, and a quality cut. When you need comfort and performance, then you need the professional-grade Kubota Z400. Right now, get the Kubota Z400 mower for 0 down, 0% APR for 36 months. Now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
2 locations to serve you, Columbia Kubota or Franklin Kubota. Visit us online at ColumbiaKubota.com or FranklinKubota.com.
Do you have a VA loan? In this housing market, homeowners with VA loans have access to a ton of instant cash. Willie Donick here. If you need cash for that home improvement or want to finally be credit card debt-free, how does a check for 80 or 90 grand sound right now? Loan Pronto is helping veterans every day get the money they need with a quick and easy, zero-cost cash-out refi with 0 closing costs. With a VA loan, it's really cool because you can access up to 100% of your home's value. Use that money to pay off all your high-interest debt or remodel your kitchen, or both. Loan Pronto's all-digital process makes it fast and easy. They're doing loans with super low APRs, and they love working with veterans. In fact, Loan Pronto does 0 down purchases for veterans buying a new home. Call now to see what your options are. Call Loan Pronto at 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780. Or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
Stillman and Company, D-May's going to join us. But again, the question is, John Robinson says he does not foresee trading A.J. Brown before Thursday's draft, 1 week from today. I guess I don't foresee it either. But I love the fact, too, how John's like, I've said this several times, I don't foresee trading A.J. Brown. And
He's
it's
never
like,
said that.
Well, I mean, you know, he told Jim Wyatt that they want A.J. to be here for a long time. So, I don't know if that is foresee or if that's not foresee or whatever
But
it
to
may
say
be.
that he said it several times, I don't think is necessarily fair. But I think that the sentiment is there.
So there's something I have a hard time with that I legitimately have a problem with. Now, I don't have a problem with press conferences not telling the truth. I don't want anybody to misinterpret this as me being like the guy who's like, how dare they not tell the truth at a press conference? I mean, they're not going to tell the truth all the time about whatever. But so the Deebo Samuel video yesterday, this was Deebo's mom's Instagram. Deebo is in it. And if you listen closely, Deebo Samuel is explaining to his mom that Tori Dandy, the agent for both Deebo Samuel and A.J. Brown, is telling his mom, relaying the story, that the Titans have told Tori Dandy that A.J. is worth more than $20 million a year, but they're not going to give it to him. This is the Deebo Samuel video from yesterday.
Tori said, them folks said they ain't going past 20. They said they know you worth it, but they ain't going to give it to you. AJ Brown.
Hey, AJ Brown.
Dude from the Titans. So they told him.
Didn't he go through the draft with you?
They told him. They offer him $20 million, but they know he can get more, but they're not giving him more than $20.
That's what they told him?
Yeah.
That's what they told him? Yeah, that's what they told him. They're going to give him $20 million. They don't want to give him more than that. Okay. Now, here's the thing. I'm sure that for a lot of people yesterday at 4:30 or whenever you got that video and we sent it to Ian and we played it and talked about it for the next hour, I'm sure that was the first time a lot of people heard that. Joe came on at 5 o'clock, and that was the first time Joe had heard it. And then we played it, and we played it some more. But the video got deleted. And
well, at least the video that I saw on Twitter got deleted.
I looked for it. I could not find the video.
It was the only, because we had a texter text in about it. I looked it up on Twitter. I scrolled and I scrolled and I scrolled, and I found that was the one video or the one recording of that video that I saw. So I don't think it's any sort of like viral video. It was just something put out there that I think some Titans fan found.
But if it hadn't gotten deleted, it probably would have gone viral.
Would it?
I think it has to, right? Debo Samuel is talking about A.J. Brown's contract?
You would think.
I mean, negotiating in public? I mean, like that.
At the time that I found it, because it was tweeted out at, what would we say, like 12:45-ish?
Something like that.
And we found it at 4 something. Like, that's enough time to go viral.
Maybe it's not.
I don't know.
I don't know. But John Robinson was asked about that video today. Here's what John Robinson said.
John, you had a situation, I guess AJ's talking with Debo Samuel on a Instagram video talking about the terms of the negotiations. You got him requesting a trade. Does any of this make you feel more urgency when it comes to the AJ situation? Yeah, I mean, I've talked about where we're at. I've talked to AJ's reps. AJ knows how we feel about him, how much he means to this football team, and I haven't seen any, Instagram videos or Snapchats or Vimeos or any of that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Vimeos.
You think John Robinson doesn't know about this?
I don't know if he necessarily knows about the video, but I'm sure he knows about, or I don't know if he knew about the video before. Maybe we talked about it yesterday.
Okay.
Because that wasn't a viral video.
Okay, but don't you think at least one person who works for the Titans.
I don't think that he knew about it before we brought it up yesterday.
Well, no. He knew about it when Joe asked about it.
Probably so.
He knew about it. Of course he knew about it.
If we talked about it for 2 hours
There
yesterday.
is at least one person listening to this show at any given time that probably works for the Titans in some capacity, right? And I'm not saying that it's the same people. I'm saying that there's got to be, out of the 500 employees they have, one person listening to sports talk radio that, okay. And we
Probably
played it
so.
like 10 times.
Probably so.
But
I don't think he would have found it otherwise.
But that is something you bring to somebody's attention.
Yes.
That is something that you say, hey, John, I need a second. And it's like, well, hold on. I mean, I'm watching tape of these defensive tackles right now. I mean, what am I?
Turn the tape off.
You need to know what this is. Because what it is, I think gives great insight. I think John loves this. This is great for John. Because it gives him insight into what AJ's thinking and what Tory Dandy's telling him. Because, again, I don't think the Titans in negotiating told Tory Dandy, yeah, we know AJ's worth more than $20 million a year, but we're not going to pay it. I think they probably told Tory Dandy, like, look, we want to do $20 million a year, and we think it's fair because we have this next year, and we have the franchise tag option after, and AJ would be playing for $4 million. So if we're going to give him $20 million right now, then you don't get full market rate. That's the point of not going to the market, is you don't get full market value. That's why Philip Forsberg is waiting to go to the market, to get full market value. And so I think he knew about it. And I think Robinson actually probably likes this. You do have to wonder this question, though, which is, let's say the Titans aren't budging off that $20 million, and they know they're not going to budge off of that. You have to know when you go into a negotiation what you're willing to do. Well, if AJ is telling Debo that he is disappointed that he's worth more than that and the Titans aren't going to give it to him, then maybe that tells you that AJ's never going to sign to something that is at $20 million a year. He's never going to take into consideration the fact that the Titans control his 5th year or control the franchise tag this year and then next year with the tag and then an additional year with the tag. And I don't think that I don't want to say that's bad negotiating, but if John thinks that they're miles apart on this and there's no way to do it, then isn't there a deadline that is next Thursday?
I mean, the deadline has to be the draft. Like, it has to be.
Well, they could, in theory, do the Devontae Adams thing, which is play him through this year, so you're $4 million or whatever, which he is going to hate. But $4 million this year, and then tag him, trade him, and you won't get as many picks back and as good a picks back next year, but it would.
But you get AJ on the cheap for this year, and
yeah, I mean, you're going to get like a second-round pick for AJ next year if you do that.
But that feels like it's not the best thing for either party, for AJ or for the Titans.
But you do have AJ for 1 year.
You have AJ for 1 year
and
at a
you're trying
lower
to
price
compete
tag.
at this 1 year. So, I mean, they can, in theory, go past the draft. I wouldn't.
But I think the best way to go about it is figure out what you want to do with AJ, figure out if you're going to keep him or trade him, and then once you make that decision, that's how you figure out your draft plan.
Let's go to your phones. Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Let's try to squeeze some texts in here before we get to D. Mace at 2:30. Go ahead.
One texter texts in and says, I get what you're saying. Go prove it, AJ, and then we'll talk about the big money, but we don't have the quarterback to be the best wide receiver in the league.
Well, the Titans aren't asking AJ to prove it. AJ's already proven it. And AJ's not the best wide receiver in the league. And AJ's not going to be the best wide receiver in the league. And it doesn't sound to me like AJ's looking for the best wide receiver in the league money. Tyreek Hill is $30 million. I don't think AJ's looking for $30 million. At least, you know, that's the sense I get from the discussion with Debo and Debo's mom. That, you know, oh, yeah, they know he's worth more than 20, but he's not. That doesn't mean that they know he's worth 30. So I don't think AJ's looking for 30. I could be wrong. But is AJ a number one receiver? Yeah. AJ's one of the 32 best wide receivers in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
AJ's
you
probably.
said what, top 15?
Probably one of the 15 best receivers in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are not cheap. Christian Kirk is not cheap. Those guys are not cheap. I don't get into this whole, like, well, the quarterback's no good, so who cares? I don't get into that because if you move on from quarterback, one of the reasons
you still
that
need
you
a wide
feel
receiver.
good about your quarterback or the future quarterback is because you got a wide receiver for him. What's next?
Another texter texts in and says, I don't foresee that. Still leaves the possibility of it happening. It would have been different if he said, we are not trading AJ under any circumstances.
See, that is the key here because Chase texted me.
It's not a definite statement.
Foresee is the key word. I don't foresee having to fire anyone, but that's because I haven't been given reason to. I think it may be a little
yikes.
Might need to worry about Chase on that one. Maybe AJ hasn't given John the reason to trade him yet.
And maybe there hasn't been a return that would elicit trading AJ.
But if AJ follows the Debo route, and all of a sudden on Tuesday of next week we're hearing AJ wants out, then what? Then has that changed what you foresee?
Maybe John Robinson doesn't foresee that happening, but that doesn't eliminate it as a possibility.
I still don't think they're going to do it.
I don't either, and I don't think this entire time, throughout this offseason, I haven't thought that the Titans were actually going to trade A.J. Brown. But also, there could be extenuating circumstances. There could be a team out there that's willing to deal 3 first-round picks, 2 first-round picks for A.J. Brown. I don't foresee A.J. Brown
but they're not taking calls.
Throwing a temper tantrum.
Diana Rossini said they're not even taking calls, which, again, I'm not sure how you do that.
I don't know. Yeah, do you just not answer your phone?
So here's what I want. I wanted to pick D. Mace's brain, in large part because there's only one other guy that has accomplished as much as AJ has at that position for this team. It's Derek. And I wanted to pick Derek's brain on what he thinks is going through AJ's mind, what he thinks the Titans should do, what he thinks about the leaked audio. Let's get Derek Mason's going to join us. We'll get his thoughts on this next. I find this very fascinating. Stillman and Company, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hey, I'm Matthias Ekholm, and this is Smashville.
Ekholm, his shot, he scores! Matthias Ekholm gets the Predators' third of the night.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights. Being arrested doesn't have to be the worst day of your life. Being served with custody paperwork doesn't have to be the worst day of your life. It may feel that way, but if you have Amanda J. Gentry representing you, you can feel confident that you're going to have the best quality representation in all of Middle Tennessee. Amanda J. Gentry goes wherever justice demands. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
Hey, it's me, Chase McCabe, and listen, you know that I love BetMGM. I use it all the time, and I talk about it all the time. They are the king of sportsbooks, and they unleash the spirit of Las Vegas with BetMGM rewards. Every time you make a wager at BetMGM, you can earn BetMGM rewards points that you can redeem for online bonus credits like free bets and risk-free tokens. If you're planning a trip to Vegas, like I am, you can also convert your BetMGM points into MGM rewards points that you can use towards dining, shows, and hotel rooms at over 20 MGM Resorts properties located on the Las Vegas Strip and nationwide. BetMGM Rewards is sports betting's premier loyalty program featuring exclusive offers, incredible experiences, and valuable perks when you wager on the BetMGM app. Sign up with BetMGM or log on today and get an even bigger piece of the action with BetMGM Rewards. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Tennessee only. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
Family Leisure invites you to vacation at home with a new spa, pool, patio furniture, or wood play gym this summer.
I really want a spa.
40 spas on display from Artesian, Best Spas, and American Select.
Prices starting as low as $29.99.
Family Leisure has over 100 sets of patio furniture with free delivery.
That sounds good to me, too.
We should really look at the wood play gyms for the kids. Family Leisure has the Diamond Point swing set on sale at only $24.99 installed. Family Leisure's vacation at home sale in Franklin and Antioch.
312 Pizza Company is Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria, and they're now hiring. Work for a family-owned business and be a part of their incredible team. 312 Pizza Company is hiring for all positions, including host, waitstaff, bartenders, cooks, and more. 312 Pizza Company offers health insurance and paid time off to full-time employees. Contact Kimberly at 615-730-7888 or email at contact@312pizzaco.com. 312 is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, it's Jared for TriStar Moving. If you're looking to move, you need to give my friends at TriStar Moving a call. At TriStar Moving, you'll get 5-star service throughout the entire process. Everything will be taken care of, from covering your floors, banisters, railings, front door thresholds, furniture, TVs, and more. They took great care of my move and made it as stress-free as possible. If you're looking to move, give TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit them at nashvillemoving.org/radio and get 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Vanderbilt football head coach Clark Lee. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Is there any chance that AJ could be traded between now and the draft?
I think I've spoke on that several times now, so do not foresee that happening.
Here you go. John Robinson says he does not foresee trading A.J. Brown today. Steve Keim, the general manager of the Arizona Cardinals, is holding a press conference, and we talked about the word foresee that John Robinson used. I don't foresee that happening, trading A.J. Brown before the draft on Thursday. Could Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray be traded? General manager Steve Keim at his pre-draft press conference, according to Ian Rappaport, said 0 chance. I think there's a big difference between 0 chance and I don't foresee that happening. So we've got the Deebo Samuel mom's Instagram video audio in which Deebo tells his mom that AJ told him that Tory Dandy, the agent, said that the Titans know he's worth more than $20 million a year, but they will not go above $20 million a year, which I cannot believe the Titans would do, but that's what we have. D. Mace joins us. He'll be on all day tomorrow, 10 to 2, on Darren Donick and Chase. As always, former All-Pro Titans wide receiver Derek Mason. D. Mace, I want your read on the A.J. situation, what we know now.
What we know now is he wants to get paid, and, rightfully so. I think the thing is that he sees all of these other wide receivers getting money, and he wants his. And, he deserves to get paid. Now, what that number is, I don't know, but he deserves to have a pay raise. And he wants it, so it's up to him and the Titans to figure out what that number is. It seems like they're far apart from each other right now, but hopefully they can get a deal done.
Put yourself in AJ's shoes, Derek. How do you think he feels when he sees all the other wide receivers signing for all this money? He's still got 1 year left on his deal. They can still use the franchise tag on him, but he wants market value. And you heard right there the Deebo Samuel saying that, hey, the agent said that the Titans know he's worth more than 20, but they won't pay him. Put yourself in AJ's shoes. Would you be upset with the Titans if you were AJ?
It depends on what the conversations has been up until this point. If the conversations have been, hey, listen, we want to sign you, we're going to get a deal done, we're just trying to figure out the numbers, then yeah. But if the negotiations have gone a different way, which isn't good, then I would be upset that other guys are getting their money and I'm not. And I'm the guy that is looking to get paid. So it just depends on how the conversations have been going. And it seems like from what John has said, it seems like the conversations, what little they've had, has been going well. But I guess other people see it differently. Yeah.
Put yourself in John's shoes. Let's say that the agent is saying, no, we need to be paid full market rate, even though there's the fourth year that is already signed as part of the rookie contract and the franchise tag options. AJ wants to be paid $26 million a year. You're John Robinson and the Titans. Derek Mason, what do you do?
I'm trying to negotiate that number down because realistically, I mean, AJ's a really good receiver. But if you look at the numbers realistically, the numbers doesn't dictate that I pay you, north of $22 million. It just doesn't. Not to say that AJ's not going to put up numbers. Now, if they give him anything north of $25 million, they are paying him on potential, not what he's already done. They're paying him on the potential of him getting 1,500 yards or 1,600 yards and 13 touchdowns or 100 catches. Right now, at this point, he hasn't had over 70 catches. He's had 1,000-yard receiving season, I believe, maybe two. So if I'm just looking at the numbers based upon all these other receivers, then I can't give him anything north of $22 million.
What if you feel like that's not going to happen? Like you're the Titans and you feel like they're putting their foot down saying, no, we want top dollar, and the draft is Thursday, so if you're going to make a move, you would need to make it by Thursday to replace AJ with those high picks the Jets keep telling people that they'd be willing to trade. What do you do?
I think you go and make a serious offer and see what they say, but also work in the backgrounds to try to, get a potential trade for him. Because just like AJ and his agent is doing what they are doing or doing what's best for him, then the Titans got to do what's best for themselves as well. They can't sit here and try to negotiate, and then all of a sudden AJ doesn't want to be here. Now the Titans are left without a wide receiver. Or AJ can't continue to negotiate, and then the Titans say, you know what, we're going to draft another receiver in the first round. And now AJ is like, what's going on here? So I think both sides need to press hard for a deal to be done before Thursday. And if you can't get it done, man, this is sports. I know how much everybody loves AJ. I love him as a player, but he got to go if you can't get anything done. I mean, I don't know why everybody's scared to say, hey, he might have to be traded. It seems like everybody's tiptoeing around that because they don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. But that might happen. It happens in sports. People get traded. We didn't think that, Tyreek Hill would get traded. He got traded. There's been people, Russell Wilson, he got traded. So it's not too far-fetched to say that AJ might get traded in this situation.
But AJ, Derek Mason's with us, but I think the Titans are avoiding doing that, D-Mace, because I think they think, we've seen AJ on Twitter, they think AJ's probably sensitive, and if he hears his name in a trade rumor, he's probably then going to demand that he be traded.
Damn a sensitivity. If you give him the money, he'll stop being mad. Money talks. All that other stuff walks, man. If they pay him what he's want, he could be mad today or tomorrow or the next day. If the Titans come in there with a contract that he loves, he will stop being mad. So just look at it from that standpoint. This business is not about making friends. It's really not. It's about winning ball games at the end of it. It's a business. Everybody screams it's a business until their feelings get hurt. And then all of a sudden, it's no longer a business. No, it's a business, and it's going to remain a business. So it's either give A.J. the money or, trade him away and get something for him. And I'm sure either way, A.J. will be happy because either he's going to get his money here or he's going to get his money somewhere else.
Derek Mason's with us. You know what it bothers me, D-Mace, about all this is the idea that now that Debo's requested a trade, we know they have the same agent. It wouldn't surprise me if things don't progress and AJ eventually follows suit and requests a trade himself. And if it happens after the draft, there's no way for the Titans to go replace A.J. Brown, which is why I think the discussions needed to be had with John Robinson and the agent, Tory Dandy, pretty much today. That is, we need to know probably by Monday or Tuesday what we're going to do here. And that's what scares me is putting a deadline in there.
Well, not really. They can still draft a wide receiver because they're still going to have him on a rookie contract, so it doesn't matter. They can go and draft a receiver in the first round and still give A.J. his money or trade him away. So I don't think the Titans they're not in this, rock in a hard place situation. Because with them, they can still go out and draft a wide receiver in the first round, and that wide receiver will be under a rookie contract, and that wide receiver doesn't have to start, and we can still sign A.J. to $20-something million. So I don't think that Thursday or right before the draft is a cutoff date. It might be for everyone else, but I think the Titans are looking at it as, listen, we got the 26th pick. If we want to draft a wide receiver, we're going to draft one, whether A.J.'s here or not, because you got to understand, Robert Woods, we still don't know about his knee. So just say if something happens to Robert Woods in his knee, I hope it doesn't. Pray to God that it doesn't. But if something happens, they got to have an insurance policy. Well, what's our insurance policy? Go get a receiver in the first round, and then we can move from there. So they don't necessarily have to get rid of A.J. or have A.J. make a decision before Thursday because they could still draft that wide receiver and still keep A.J.
D-Mace, last one for you. If A.J. hit you up and said, Derek, you've been through this. You're the best receiver in the history of the Titans right now, and I'm number 2. Give me some advice. What would your advice to A.J. Brown be?
Be quiet. Don't say nothing. Allow your agent to do his job. You're paying him 3, 4, 2, I don't know what the percentage is. You're paying him to do his job. Let him do it. I would be mad at Deebo Samuel's mom. I really would. Because it's like if he didn't know that his mom was on a live video and he's on the other end of the phone and things are being said about him, I'm upset as a player because I'm like, y'all got to let me know that y'all doing this. Maybe I didn't want that to get out. So I'm upset at Deebo Samuel and his mom for putting me in a position that may compromise my negotiation. And that's what it sounds like. So I would be mad at him. I wouldn't be mad at the Titans right now. I'd be mad at Deebo for allowing that to get out.
Yeah. Derek Mason, he'll be on tomorrow, 10 to 2 with Darren, Donick, and Chase. D-Mace, good stuff, bud. Always good to talk to you.
All right, y'all have a good one. Have a good show.
Yep, Derek Mason joining us on the program. That's some takes right there from Derek.
Someone who's been there.
So I want to get to something he just said, because you heard what he said about how everybody needs to just cut down. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs to just put it all on the table, and they need to stop playing to AJ's sensitivities about AJ being traded. Because, look, there was a rumor that came out from Chris Mortensen a couple years ago about the Titans wanting to trade Derrick Henry, and the Titans never addressed it, and they never had to address it because Derek probably didn't care, because they probably told Derek, it's bullcrap, and Derek was probably like, okay, and moved on. AJ, clearly they care from a sensitivity standpoint about how AJ is going to react. Deebo has requested a trade. San Francisco is not in the market for trading Deebo yet, but that doesn't mean that not everybody's thinking about what a Debo trade would be. So Derek says that if AJ is going to hold out for the money, they got to trade him. I want your thoughts on that. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll have ours, 615-737-1025, Stillman & Company, right here, ESPN 1025 The Game. Of course, we're streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Hey, do not miss Nashville's best NFL draft coverage starting at 5 o'clock Thursday, April 28th, and Friday the 29th on 1025 The Game, presented by Social Furniture, Apple Collision Centers, Farm Bureau Health Plans, and the Nashville Sheriff's Office. Be sure to join us on site as 1025 The Game will be broadcasting live on Thursday, April 28th from 3rd and Home, Germantown's Bar with a Ballpark. You can watch all of our live coverage of the NFL Draft via 1025 The Game's Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Hey, this is Andrew Allegretta, voice of the Vandy Boys. Listen to the Commodore Hour every Monday at 6 p.m. during the baseball season. Kevin Ingram and I talk with Coach Corbin and special guests on ESPN 94.9 and streaming on the VU Commodores mobile app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Looking at cloudy skies for the rest of the day. The storms have cleared out and the warm-up is on. 78 today with 80 for the weekend.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Don't miss the historic opening of Geodis Park on May 1st as Nashville SC comes home for the first time of the 2022 season. Become a season ticket member starting at only $357 to ensure you are there for the big day. Come on in and grab a seat at NashvilleSC.com/22ticks.
Finishing jobs on time, never being idle, and powerful equipment. Meade has the John Deere excavating equipment and the smart grade technology solutions for you and your business. Power your business with a new, used, or rented excavator and get the performance you expect and service you can rely on. Call us today for the equipment built as tough and reliable as you, or visit us at meadtractor.com. That's meadtractor.com.
The designer jewelry event of 2022 is this weekend at Genesis Diamonds. See all new creations from the world's biggest names in jewelry. Store-wide savings up to 35% and take advantage of zero-interest financing. Top designers are here with their newest and most inspired lines. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, many being shown for the very first time. Special pricing across the board. Spread your payments with zero-interest financing. Extra savings on GIA-certified diamonds, too. Friday through Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Thinking about making a change? You've put in the years and had success, but ready for something more? Well, good news. Little Guys Movers is looking for folks just like you to own and operate their very own Little Guys Movers franchise. From Broadway to Brentwood to Mount Juliet, if you can hear my voice, there's an affordable, profitable Little Guys franchise opportunity nearby. Use your existing 401k to invest in yourself. Financing options are available. Join a team with 30-plus years of growth and good times. Learn more at littleguysfranchise.com and then make that call.
At Copper Branch, they live life to the fullest. Food is your energy and your life. Located in the heart of downtown Nashville, their goal is to serve you, your friends, and family quality, great-tasting, plant-based power foods. Visit Copper Branch at 601 Church Street for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with convenient and validated parking during library hours. And download their app for curbside pickup. Or come out for songwriter and live music nights several times throughout the week. To empower, energize, and feel your best, visit Copper Branch today.
Smokeville Smoke Shop has been serving Hendersonville and Metro Nashville since 2015 and is committed to providing high-quality, hands-on, and personable customer service. Stop into Smokeville Smoke Shops in Hendersonville, Gallatin, Hermitage, and Goodlettsville to try any of their wide selection of locally sourced products and selection of top nationwide brands, including vapes, hookah, hand-blown glass, detox systems, e-juices, kratom products, leaf wraps, and much more. Visit Smokeville Smoke Shops today.
Darren McFarland.
He's cool. He's got a personality, and they make fun of him.
Willie Donick.
Would this be a fun guy to come to work and hang around with all day?
Chase McCabe.
They're just like, hey, we need you to play yourself.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
That's been going on with the receiver market. Where do you stand right now?
Yeah, we've had some discussions with his reps.
And when he was here a couple weeks ago, I talked to him, and working through that. Not going to get into any details with contract negotiations. Never have really done that, but we've made it public about how we feel about AJ and how we wanted to be a part of this football team.
There you go. John Robinson says we don't really make the information public, but we want AJ to be a part of the team. Could you see, is there any chance AJ gets traded before Thursday? I can't foresee that happening. Not the same as what the Cardinals just said about zero chance with Kyler Murray. So I want to get to what Derek said right there, which was I asked Derek Mason about what do you do if you're the Titans? He said you make a serious offer, and after that, you got to start working on a trade. And that at the end of the day, you got to put AJ being sensitive, AJ being upset about hearing his name in a trade rumor. You got to put that aside. And I was a little surprised. I figured, honestly, that Derek would say that they have to find a way to keep AJ. But he says if you go to AJ next week with a serious offer and you offer AJ Brown however much money per year, clearly it's going to have to be more than $20 per year. However you want to do it, if you want to fake it around with whatever, you want to make it a real $22 million per year or whatever it is, but you go to them with a real offer, which is what I told Joe yesterday I would do. You tell Tory Dandy right now, hey, we got to get something done before Tuesday of next week because then we have to pivot our whole focus, and maybe AJ does get traded. And if you do that, now you have to go replace AJ. You're not as good of a team, but you at least got the hassle of what are we going to do about his contract? Is he going to show up? Is he going to be a pain in the butt? Is he going to – what? You get rid of all of that. What do you think of D. Mace's take?
I mean, it's a pretty calculated and business-like take. And I think that's how fans don't like to look at these contract situations because I think a lot of fans look at it like it's A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is the most important part of this offense.
Don't you feel like the text line, though, the last couple of days
the past
has been
couple of
pretty
days,
pro-trading A.J.?
They've kind of turned on A.J. Brown, and I think it's a couple of things, not just, wanting more money, not just his actions on social media, but I think there have been a lot of fans who have looked at it like, look, A.J. Brown is great, but he's not Devontae Adams. He is not Cooper Kupp. He's not one of the best wide receivers in the league. And I think they've looked at it like, okay, A.J. does get injured a lot. The Titans have been left in the 2021 season, and even before, they've been left in a few games without him because he can't get out there because of injury, and he's not getting any younger. I do think that there have been a lot of takes like that, at least in the text line and what I've seen on Twitter of, like, A.J. Brown is great, but he's not the best wide receiver in the league. And yes, he's incredibly important to this team, but he can be replaceable. But I think there is also another school of thought of it's A.J. Brown. And if you don't have A.J. Brown, that doesn't make you a better football team. Just like trading Tyreek Hill did not make the Kansas City Chiefs better. But the Kansas City Chiefs have enough other weapons on offense that, like, they can draft another wide receiver and they're going to be okay.
Or they think. They can
That's
draft
what they
another
think.
wide receiver.
They can draft
and
another wide
they'll be
receiver,
okay.
and they still have Travis Kelce, and they still have Patrick Mahomes. The Titans don't have that luxury. Of course, yes, the Titans still do have Derrick Henry, but the Kansas City Chiefs trading away Tyreek Hill, they still have plenty of other weapons that the Titans just don't
But
have.
if you feel like you've made a serious offer where you're saying, look, this is not a market value contract because he's not on the market.
Yeah.
This is factoring in the fact that he's due $4 million this year, and that we can franchise him next
and that he
year.
wants to have the security of having a contract going into his final contract year. I get it.
And if we want to, we'll franchise him again.
Yeah.
Now we'll pay
And
a
that's
lot
where
of money
the
doing
Titans'
that.
leverage comes into
But we
play
can
here.
do that. And so here's our offer. Here's our legitimate offer to get this done. And AJ's camp says no. Can you run the risk of AJ being upset that you're shopping him around? Because now you're competing with everybody who's interested in Debo. But again, we don't know if San Francisco is going to trade Debo. We don't know if they're interested in trading Debo. So, I mean, I thought D. Mace's takes were pretty honest there. I just don't think the Titans are going to have the stones to do this.
I don't think so.
And I don't know why. I mean, in a business, like, hey, this is what we have budgeted for it. What can we go above? Well, we can do this. I kind of feel after the way the Lewan contract worked out in 2018, I think the Titans are going to end up giving AJ a full market value deal, which I would not do. Let's go to Nate, 615-737-1025. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Go ahead, Nate.
So during that Derek Mason interview, when I heard him say that the Titans should shop him around after they give him the best offer they can, I just thought that then the Titans lose all leverage for trading because you can't tell A.J. Brown or his agent anything and it not get out on social media. And then once the Titans are basically out there shopping him around, then you lose all leverage.
So I don't think you lose leverage. Thank you for your call, Nate. I don't think you lose leverage if you start shopping A.J. Brown around. I mean, I don't think that the Seattle Seahawks lost leverage on Russell Wilson because they started shopping him around. I mean, Deshaun Watson lose leverage by
Will it
trading
piss off
A.J.
AJ?
Brown.
Yeah.
That's what you lose.
That's the different story.
That's what you lose is that if you shop AJ, AJ's going to get pissed.
Yeah.
That's what you lose. And, all of the hand-holding that it feels like the Titans have done over the last couple of months, whether it's the article with Jim Wyatt, whether it's Vrabel, talking about his mushy relationship with AJ, which Vrabel does not go mush on anybody, whether it's all the times they've told Diana Rossini that they're not interested in trading AJ, they're not even taking calls on AJ, the fact that today John Robinson, right now, I think it's the second story on ESPN.com, was him saying that he does not foresee them trading A.J. Brown.
That does not mean that they will not absolutely consider it.
But once you do all of that, you start shopping A.J. around, the negotiations are probably over.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, the idea of extending him, in my opinion, is probably done. Unless maybe A.J. sees that as a, hey, you want to stay here and you want to still make money and you want to not be shipped off to some crap team? Well, then get back to the table and, take the deal. And I'm not on anybody's side here. I mean this with all sincerity. Like, what bothers me in this is the fact that the Titans have leverage. You can't look at Christian Kirk's $18 million or $17 million and say, well, if Christian Kirk is worth 17, then A.J. Brown is worth 24. So A.J. should get paid 24. By that logic, I can say Stephon Diggs is getting 24, and A.J. ain't Stephon Diggs. But again, Christian Kirk was a free agent. Christian Kirk didn't come with any – they didn't have to trade picks to get Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk was a free agent. AJ is not. And when you sign before, there's a guy on the Sounds by the name of John Singleton. John Singleton signed for $10 million with the Houston Astros before he ever played a game in the major leagues because he was one of the top prospects in the sport. The Astros were buying out years where they thought he was going to be so expensive because he was such a top prospect, and I don't think the guy ever did anything in the major leagues. And now he's on the Sounds. But he gave away some money on the front end. If Mike Trout had done the same thing, the Angels would have gotten rich on it for years. And that's what this is. That is, AJ, we're going to give you a good contract, but we're not going to give you the best contract, and we're not going to give you the contract that you would get if we had to give it to you. And that bothers me is the people that don't understand leverage on this. TD is here. For the TD Power Hour, we'll get Tehran's thoughts. We'll ask TD what his thoughts on Derek's takes were. Because I thought Derek's takes were pretty measured. But again, Robinson today saying, I don't foresee them trading. Derek saying, if they don't make progress soon, they're going to have to think about it. We'll get TD's thoughts on that for the TD Power Hour, plus TD's thoughts on the press conferences today about the draft, TD's thoughts on players in the draft, and, of course, your questions for TD, because that's what we always do. 615-737-1025, the TD Power Hour is next. Stillman and Company right here at ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings from 5 to 9.
Did you see the Tennessee Titans? He has all the weapons to make it happen.
There's so much to pay attention to. Greeny from 9 to 11.
Ryan Tannehill is the most disrespected player.
Art and Han from 11 to 2.
You never stop punching. They've got to learn how to close the deal.
And the Paul Feinbaum Show afternoons from 2 to 6.
Are these legitimate contenders to the party?
Your exclusive home for ESPN Radio in the Music City.
ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Gary Ashton here. I love hearing people say, don't sell without the intel, because it means they're really embracing our message. Now's a great time to sell your home in Nashville, but you need the intel only the Gary Ashton team can provide. Intel that helps you sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel to win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Let everyone else get the same information and compete for the same properties, while you get the intel edge with the Gary Ashton team, the official real estate team for your Tennessee Titans. And if you're looking for a great career, join our team. We added 65 new agents last year, and we want you to join us this year. Remember, don't sell without the intel. And if you're looking for a great career, the Gary Ashton team wants you in 2022. Call 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com today.
This segment of ESPN 1025 The Game is brought to you by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent Train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
Hey, it's Mike from Newton Ford South. It's springtime, and I'm going on a limb here. I'm just going to say it. You either love Peeps or you're wrong. I hope you've heard our commercials before. My hope is that you have learned that we are a quality company that prides itself on customer service, and that we like to laugh and joke a bit too. We're different than other dealerships. We don't have hidden fees. The price you see on the site is a price you pay in the dealership. We value you as a customer. We're aware that buying a car often has a stigma attached. Our goal is to overcome that bad stigma, not with flashy commercials or unrealistic giveaways, but with an honest, transparent car buying experience. We want you to come back, and we want you to tell your friends. We do that by giving you great customer service. We want to make your car buying experience fast, easy, and mostly online to save you time. That's why we have Newton Fast Pass. You can work your deal and numbers online and work the deal to fit your budget. Sounds easy, right? Hop to it and visit newtonford.com to start your deal. See website for details. Check the deets, peeps.
Parman Tractor and Equipment is your one-stop tractor and equipment solution, and Middle Tennessee's Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer. Rent or purchase a track loader, mini excavator, large excavators for your job site, or something in between. Parman is now hiring and seeking qualified candidates for construction equipment truck drivers, service technicians, and more. Apply at parmantractor.com or call 615-865-7800. Come be an employee owner with the Parman team, your Middle Tennessee Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer.
Smokeville Smoke Shop has been serving Hendersonville and Metro Nashville since 2015 and is committed to providing high-quality, hands-on, and personable customer service. Stop into Smokeville Smoke Shops in Hendersonville, Gallatin, Hermitage, and Goodlettsville to try any of their wide selection of locally sourced products and selection of top nationwide brands, including vapes, hookah, hand-blown glass, detox systems, e-juices, kratom products, leaf wraps, and much more. Visit Smokeville Smoke Shops today.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 1025 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. It's the TD Power Hour. Teron Davenport is here. TD, how are you? We got TD. We'll get TD here in a second. But again, the first thing we're going to have to get into is the news of the day, which is John Robinson saying that he does not foresee trading A.J. Brown. We also have the video in which Deebo Samuel's mom posted on Instagram Live. This is like almost an update into the negotiations between the Titans and A.J. Now, I said this yesterday that what I had heard was that at the end of February, very, very, very end of February, somebody in AJ's camp told me they thought they were getting a deal done. And the number was $20 million. And then all of a sudden, free agency opened, and Christian Kirk got paid $17 million. And so people were talking about that. And then after Christian Kirk got his $17 million, then Tyreek Hill got traded. Devontae Adams got traded. Those guys all got their money. So it probably inflated the wide receiver market a little bit. And so, again, the number that we had to work off of was 20. And this is, if we can, the Instagram live video yesterday that we found. This is Deebo Samuel's mom with Deebo Samuel. Here's what you got.
Tori said them folks said they ain't going past 20. They said they know you worth it, but they ain't going to give it to you. AJ Brown.
Hey, AJ Brown.
He was on the Titans. So they told him.
Didn't he go through the draft with you?
They told him. They offered him $20 million, but they know he can get more, but they're not giving him more than 20.
That's what they told him?
Yeah.
Okay, so you had it right there. They offered him $20 million. They know he's worth more. They're not going to give it to him. John Robinson again today said he does not foresee trading A.J. Brown. TD joins us. TD, your thoughts on the latest developments of the A.J. Brown contract drama?
Well, I think it's just more of where we've been over the last week or so, to be honest with you. It's today's comments are no different than from what we've heard in the past, and they've continued to hold steadfast to that they want A.J. Brown to be a Titan for a long time. Now, that sounds good to the media, to the fans, et cetera, but how they're going to go about doing that is really the question at hand. And the situation has gotten a little more complicated because now you have the trade aspect that has been, incorporated after Deebo Samuel requested the trade, and then with his mother's IG Live. That's just a bunch of foolishness. This stuff, it's a mess, the way people want to be so public with these things. I mean, hey, everybody has their own social media account. You do with it what you will, but I just feel as though some things just shouldn't go to social media. And if I was A.J. Brown, I would be upset that conversation went to social media, to be honest with you.
What do you make of AJ's actions earlier in the week, the tweets and the removing Tennessee from his bio on Twitter? When you add up the tweets with kind of the idea that we can glean from that video that AJ doesn't feel maybe like he's being treated fairly by the Titans if he's being told that they know he's worth more than $20 million and they won't pay it to him. And then you read some of these tweets, they're very cryptic and vague. What did you make of kind of AJ's actions earlier in the week?
Well, it seems like that's what these guys do now. If they want to kind of double down on a trade request or a contract request, they scrub their social media of associations with their football team. And I think Diana Rossini on Get Up, she said it best. It's a lot like her girlfriends that want to separate from their boyfriend, right? And they take everything down that's associated with their boyfriend. I think it's the same type of situation. I personally don't endorse it, but hey, you do what you got to do if that's what you feel is necessary. I think really, if you look at all this, I'm not so sure that he's being treated unfairly. I think when you look at how this situation has come about, there are some guys who have gotten contract offers and signed some deals, and the market just continues to evolve and explode. And when it's A.J. Brown's turn, I feel A.J. will get rewarded. That's really the way I look at it.
What do you make of the fact that it feels like the Titans, and I have no sourcing on this, but it feels like in their offers to A.J., they're presenting this as it's not going to be a market value contract because we control this year and next year via the franchise tag. And if you're AJ, how would you feel about that? Because it does sound like he wants what he's worth on the market.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, obviously you always want your market value, right? Like you set a value on yourself and you want to be paid accordingly. But I think each of these situations are just that, an individual situation. It's a case-by-case thing. And, yeah, there is some leverage in that Brown is probably the best thing they have offensively. But the Titans have a good amount of leverage also. They have 3 years, technically, of team control. They could franchise him next year and tag him the following year. And what can he do? So I think when you look at that, if you want to get out of that situation and you want something a little more long-term, then you sign the deal and understand that, hey, it may be a little bit less than market value, but that's how it would go. But this will allow you to get bigger money quicker, right? And long-term security quicker. And I think if I'm A.J. Brown, I'm 24 years old, going to be 25 soon, and I'm saying, hey, you know what? I get a 3-4 year deal, and I could do just what Devontae Adams is doing, just what Stephon Diggs is doing, just what Chris Godwin and Mike Williams are doing, and that's get another crack at the apple when I'm 27, 28. You see, you got to have big picture thinking on that, and that is, in a way, gambling on yourself, but you're saying, hey, I'm going to do this deal now. I'm going to ball out over these next 3 to 4 years. And when these deals explode even more, I'm going to take advantage once again.
Corey Curtis said something to me at the press conference today, TD, which I thought was pretty interesting, which I hadn't really thought much too, which was he thinks they need to do this before Thursday, that either they need to have a deal done before the draft or they need to go in the opposite direction before the draft, because if you don't have AJ in the fold long term, you need to know that going into the draft. I found that to be interesting. Robinson again today said he doesn't foresee trading A.J. Brown, but how much do you look at Thursday as kind of a big line in the sand for what the Titans and A.J. are going to have in terms of time coming to an agreement?
You know, I initially had those thoughts as well, and I actually posted something along those lines on Twitter, but I kind of backpedaled from that. I don't think that should be a hard deadline. It would be good for them to have an understanding, okay, you know what? Looks like we're probably not going to be able to keep him. Or, you know what, we're going to have him. That would be good to have, because if it's leaning more towards not being able to keep him, now at Treylon Burks, right, that best player available versus need equation is tilted a little bit towards Treylon Burks, right? Because now it's like, okay, well, if we're not going to have him next year, we need to get a guy that we could bring along in this place. But here's the deal. They're in a situation where they're going to need to draft a receiver anyway. So regardless of what they do, I think they will have to take a receiver early, and that makes a guy like Burks, you know, have a lot of value to them. And he could be a pick, you know, as opposed to Kenyon Green and Zion Johnson, who John Robinson glowingly spoke about.
See, where I guess I differ with this is if you're going to trade AJ, it feels like the Jets have made it known that number 10 is in play, right?
Right.
Well, if you're at 10, you might be able to get Garrett Wilson or Drake London. Now, I haven't looked at those guys. I know you have. I haven't looked at those guys.
They're outstanding players. Outstanding. Think Mike Evans and Stephon Diggs as far as stylistically.
Okay, and that's my point. Is if I don't think I can get a deal done with AJ, and I can get a guy that could be Mike Evans or could be Stephon Diggs, as opposed to Treylon Burks, and I love Treylon Burks, but he actually profiles more of like an AJ than he does, you know, the two guys that you mentioned. Don't you want to know that so that you can make the deal with the Jets and then go draft that next guy to take AJ's spot, who is better than the picks that you would be able to have at 26?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, what do they say? Strike while the iron's hot, right? Mm-hmm. And I think right in front of you, you have a situation where you have a team that is desperate for what you have, so they will overspend. So it is something that you would want to know. But again, I don't think that it's just like drawing a sand in the line. This is it. Because who knows? Over the next year, things could get back to where they were, and you could figure something out to keep AJ as a Titan for the extended amount of time, which is ultimately the goal anyway.
Yeah. I just know right now it feels like a very tricky situation here. I think at the end of the day, they're going to get a deal done. I don't think they're going to get a deal done by Thursday, but I think they'll get a deal done by training camp. That's just my gut feeling on it with no sourcing behind it.
Yeah. I think it's going to continue to be closer to July, you know, when they typically get these deals done.
TD's with us for the TD Power Hour. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. D. Mace had some strong comments about the Titans and AJ and their negotiating. I want TD's thoughts on those, so we will get TD's thoughts on those coming up next. Plus, what did TD hear today at the press conference, and what did that make him think about draft strategy for the Titans? We'll get to that as well. Join ESPN 102.5 The Game for the Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament benefiting Folds of Honor on May 16th at the Hermitage Golf Course. Put your team together and come play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebrities. Sign up at thegamenashville.com/golf.
Every Wednesday at 5, join us for Jared versus Joe as they debate all of the big topics in sports, presented by Parman Tractor and Equipment and Mayweather Boxing and Fitness on ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Looking to save money? With DriveWise from Allstate, the safer you drive, the more you can save. At Allstate, better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
Spring has sprung, which means it's time to renew your home with Social Furniture. It's their Spring Fling sale, where all furniture is up to 50% off. That's right, up to 50% off on top name brands such as Serta, Sealy, Simmons, Caracol, Bernhardt, and Woodhouse. At Social Furniture, you'll find new bedroom furniture, mattresses, and sofas, all up to 50% off. Spring into Social Furniture today on Charlotte Avenue in West Nashville. Shop local, shop social. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
Genesis Diamonds' once-a-year spring extravaganza is here this weekend. 3 days of phenomenal savings store-wide. You save up to 35% off Genesis already guaranteed best prices. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, and more. Plus special finance. You can even trade in your old jewelry for some amazing new designs from our world-class designers who flew in just for this. Extra savings on GIA certified diamonds, too. It's our biggest sale all year. This Friday through Sunday only. And only at Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Get a great deal on versatile Kubota equipment today, like Kubota BX and L Series compact tractors, part of our under 100 horsepower tractor lineup rated #1 for reliability, Z Series mowers, and Sidekick utility vehicles. Stop by your local Kubota dealer today. Bring home the Kubota L2501 tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 60 months, plus save up to $1,100 now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details.
Krebs Kubota. Stop in, click, or call. Visit them online at KrebsKubota.com.
Parman Energy is your one-stop petroleum solution across all of Tennessee, offering turnkey petroleum solutions for professionals in major industries, serving trucking fleets, construction companies, industrial plants, and more. Whether a large corporation or owner-operator, Parman Energy has your diesel fuel, lubricant, DEF, and equipment needs. No matter how you're getting there, start with Parman. Visit ParmanEnergy.com for more info. Your Tennessee petroleum solution, providing totally outrageous customer service.
It's the return of Jack White, live in concert. The Supply Chain Issues Tour. Ascend Amphitheater, Saturday, April 30th and May 1st. Get tickets now at LiveNation.com. The brand new albums from Jack White, Fear of the Dawn, is available April 8th. And Entering Heaven Alive drops July 22nd. Don't miss Jack White. Visit JackWhiteThe3rd.com for more information.
The Ainsworth Nashville has been bringing a sophisticated twist to the classic all-American sports bar, restaurant, and private event experience in Midtown since 2018. Our multi-purpose venue consists of a full-scale restaurant, bar and lounge, and event space. Come for the wings, stay for our happy hour, and visit us for brunch on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We've got the good times to keep you singing all night long. The Ainsworth Nashville. Burgers, cocktails, sports.
Visit the Ainsworth at 206 21st Avenue South in Nashville or online at theainsworth.com.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Is there any chance that AJ could be traded between now and that?
I think I've spoke on that several times now, so do not foresee that happening.
There you go. John Robinson says he does not foresee an A.J. Brown trade happening. And yet, Joe Rexrode, TD, I am not throwing the conspiracy theory out here. Joe said to me after the press conference, he said that John's chosen word of foresee gives him a little wiggle room. What'd you make of that?
I mean, he didn't say zero chance, right? So there is some wiggle room. And I would imagine that was worded that way purposely I don't think they have intentions of trading him, but hey, man, an offer could come and it's one of those Godfather offers, and you're like, well, I got to do what I got to do, and you make the move.
So I want you. Derek Mason was with us. Obviously, D. Mace, wide receiver. He and AJ are 1-2 in whatever way you want to put them in the history of the Titans. And I asked him about the negotiating and what the Titans should do as far as this negotiation with AJ, the back and forth is concerned. Here's what D. Mace said.
Both sides need to press hard for a deal to be done before Thursday. And if you can't get it done, man, this is sports. I know how much everybody loves AJ. I love him as a player, but he got to go if you can't get anything done. I mean, I don't know why everybody's scared to say, hey, he might have to be traded. It seems like everybody's tiptoeing around that because they don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. But that might happen. It happens in sports. People get traded. We didn't think that, Tyreek Hill would get traded. He got traded. There's been people, Russell Wilson, he got traded. So it's not too far-fetched to say that AJ might get traded in this situation.
TD, what do you think about that?
He's right. No one is immune from being traded. I think if you see Russell Wilson get traded, that lets you know, hey, anybody could get dealt. And that's really the bottom line. You know what I mean? So, yeah, if it's something that they see that's not going to work, then they're going to have to deal them. Look, the Packers just traded Devontae Adams. Mm-hmm. I mean, they traded Devontae Adams. You understand? We're talking about one of the two best wide receivers in football. Not a top 15, not a top 10 guy, one of the top two. And he got traded. So, hey, if it's not going to work out and it's for the better of the team as far as not being able to, stomach paying what it could end up being, you got to get something in replace of him. And I think that's really how it works.
Would you put that threat there to Tory Dandy if you were the Titans?
No. I don't think you put a threat at all. I don't think there's no need to do that. I think because as far as we know, the conversations that they're having have been ongoing. And when you're having ongoing conversation, that lets you know the two parties are engaged and working towards a common goal. If they just completely broke off, then okay, you know what? That's when it's time to start using other antics to get the conversation back on course. But from everything that we've been, has been indicated, the conversations are ongoing.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot here, and I probably should have told you this before I did this. Let's say you're John Robinson. What would be the kind of package that you would hear from, let's say over the next week, that you couldn't turn down? And the reason that I think your opinion matters to me about this more maybe than almost anybody else, TD, is because you know what these players at the top of the draft are capable of. You know what you project them to be, which is how he would have to approach it as well. And also maybe some of the values of what next year's picks might mean as well. What would you say, okay, if you call me with this, we can talk A.J. Brown?
Well, I think a first-round pick is definitely one that is in the mix. The receiver classes are always good now. So, yeah, I would say a first and second this year and a third, or a first and third this year. No, your second has a lot more value to you this year. So I would say a first and second and a third next year.
See, that is not, like, to me, if they got that in a trade for AJ, like, I'd be okay with it. But what I really want to do is I want to know how bad the Jets want A.J. Brown. Like, if the Jets are willing to give up that 10th pick and next year's one, which I don't think they would do, but maybe they're desperate enough, I think you almost have to do the deal because the Jets' first-round pick next year could be 3 overall.
Well, yeah, of course. If you're just saying what would it take to make it happen, I'm saying first and second this year and a third next year. Obviously, what you're going to do initially is, hey, man, I want both your firsts, or hey, man, I want a first and your 2 seconds this year. You're going to do that. But I think what it would take to make the deal happen, in my opinion, would be a first and second and a third next year. Because that third, just along those same lines, that third, which is likely to be high, is going to be, basically a second-round pick because of how bad the Jets could be. But conversely, they could be really good. No one expected the Bengals to do what they did.
No, that's a fair point. TD's with us on the TD Power Hour. What did you take away from the press conferences today, TD, from John Robinson and Mike Vrabel?
There were multiple things. I like the way they spoke about versatility. That's something no matter what position they talked about, whether it was Zion Johnson and Kenyon Green, the offensive lineman, or if it was about the receivers, the tight ends. Versatility was a key thing, and that continues to be something that they really hone in on draft time. So I thought that was interesting. I liked how John Robinson answered my question about the quarterbacks, as far as like, how is that evaluation process different? And one of the first things he said was face of the franchise, leader. And I think that just fits perfectly with Desmond Ridder. And I asked that question just to try to see if the traits that John Robinson said were ones that I see in Ridder, and they are 100%. So those were a couple of things that stood out to me. The tight end group, I do like how they answered questions about that. And someone had asked about blocking tight ends. And I mean, Chad Otten out of Washington he's that to a T. If you go watch the Michigan game, I mean, we're talking about going against David Ajabo and Aiden Hutchinson one-on-one and holding his own. So I think there are some blocking tight ends in this draft. And I would imagine the Titans believe the same thing. So it was good just getting some draft talk in there with those guys. I enjoyed that part of it.
You know what? One of the things I took away today, TD, was when Vrabel was asked about the voluntary workouts. I don't know why I was expecting this. I was expecting Mike to just be like, all the workouts are voluntary. The union and the league have negotiated. That's above my pay grade. That's not. I thought you could tell Vrabel wants those guys in here. The Tannehills, the Henrys, the Simmons, the guys who aren't here. I think he wants those guys in here. I think he's not happy about that. And he talked about how he had communicated with Tannehill that Tannehill will be in here soon. I just got the vibe Vrabel's not very happy about that. What did you think?
Yeah, and I left that part out of it because I thought maybe we'll talk about that in another segment. But
sure.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously the biggest takeaway. I didn't pull that he wasn't happy with it. He did make it clear in saying that, you have to respect the different things that the players are doing. And he said that he was fine with where Tannehill is at. They did expect him soon. I was surprised that he said, like any other coach, he wants the guys there because he likes coaching. I think that was a genuine comment from him and better than some of the coach speak that we've gotten before. So I respect that. But I don't think that there's any ill feelings towards Ryan Tannehill not being there. I think they understand that he will be there at some point. And the thing in all of this that we have to look at, because there's a lot of poo-pooing of Ryan Tannehill for not being there. And hey, look, man, I absolutely feel he should be there. But what if there's a situation that is truly preventing him? Like, sure. We don't know. We don't know. I mean, I respect Ryan Tannehill because, a couple of years ago, he had a death, right? Like his father-in-law passed away. Yeah. But he was still at practice. He still, like, everything still went as normal. He was very close to his father-in-law, so.
Was that here or in Miami?
And that was here. It was just a couple of years ago. And I remember talking to him about that. And, he was telling me how his father-in-law really helped him strengthen his faith. So, like, it's not an ordinary relationship. And he was still there. So, for me, I feel like is if it would take, pretty serious situation. I hope that it's not anything like, that's harmful or anything like that. But I would imagine if he's not there at the facility, there's a really good reason. And I'm not defending Ryan Tannehill by any means. I'm just saying we have to look at it from that perspective. Like, hey, you know what? There could be a good reason that he's not there.
TD's with us for the TD Power Hour. I'm open to that. I just feel like if that's the case, those things should be communicated ahead of time. I understand that if you want to keep your privacy, sometimes you let people say things and just ignore it because you want to keep certain things private. But from a leadership standpoint, Plus, the way Austin Hooper said it probably didn't do Tannehill any favors when he said, he wants to spend time with his family. It's like.
But, one thing that I've noticed just in the few times talking to Austin Hooper, everything is just very nonchalant. You know what I mean? Like, he just has a way of saying things. And I think that's probably just like the Cali in him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. TD's with us for the TD Power Hour, 615-737-1025. And TD's right. We could go all day talking about AJ. We could go all day talking about Tannehill. We do that quite often. But I do want to get to some of these prospects because even though I find this draft, for some reason, to be the least anticipated draft of my lifetime, there are going to be opportunities for the Titans to get better. And there were some things that I heard in the press conference. So TD's thoughts on that, some of these prospects as well. We'll do that coming up. Caroline wants to tell you about Caesar Sportsbook.
Time for the Caesar Sports Report, people. So Caesar Sportsbook is giving out first bet insurance for all of its new users, up to $1,100 in bet insurance, and that is a good bit of money. Download the app and use promo code RadioCZR. One word, RadioCZR, when you download the Caesar Sportsbook app, and then place your first bet. If you win, congratulations, you just got a little bit richer. But if not, no worries, you'll get your first wager back as a free bet. And if you need something to put that first bet on, we've got a Grizzlies game tonight against the Minnesota Timberwolves in the NBA playoffs. So I'm going to take the Grizzlies -2 for a couple of reasons. Memphis' defense is one of the best in the NBA. They've given up only the second fewest points in the NBA, only behind the Celtics by about a half a point difference. Now, the Grizzlies have done a very good job of adjusting their defense because in game one, they Karl Anthony Towns was all over the Grizzlies, but in game two, they made adjustments. They put plenty of defense up against Karl Anthony Towns, and they limited him to just a few points. So I'm going to take the Grizzlies -2 tonight. That's my choice. But hey, do what you want to do and do it the Caesar Sportsbook app. Must be 21 and physically present in Tennessee. New users only. Bet amount of qualifying wager return only if wager is settled as a loss. Paid as a single bet credit. Must be used within 14 days. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Caesar Sportsbook. Download it, people.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi, and this is Smashville.
Going to the front of the net, he scores. What a gorgeous move. Roman Yossi.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any.
Trading in or selling your car, truck, or SUV? WeBuyAnyCar.com takes the hassle out of selling in just 3 easy steps. 1. Get your free online valuation. 2. Drive to your local car buying center. And 3. Walk out with your check in as little as 30 minutes. So don't wait. Get your free online valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Find out how much your car's worth at WeBuyAnyCar.
This summer, saddle up in Smashville as the Music City hosts the hottest party of the summer, Wwe Summerslam. Nashville. For the first time ever at Nissan Stadium. A little bit country, a little bit rock and roll, a whole lot of kick-ass. Wwe Summerslam. Saturday, July 30th. Live worldwide from Music City's Nissan Stadium. Tickets on sale this Friday at Ticketmaster.
Don't hunt for savings this Easter. Electronic Express has the best deals of the season. Enjoy the spring weather with brands like Yeti, Traeger, Charbroil, and more. We've also got huge savings in every department. Computers and gaming, smart home, housewares, mattresses, and more. Plus, save up to 40% on all appliances with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online with free express delivery on most items. Shop spring savings at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I'm asking about Prevnar 20 because there's a chance pneumococcal pneumonia could put me in the hospital.
Age 65 or older, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I want to be able to keep my plans.
So I'm asking my doctor about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
The sounds play ball.
Tyler White to the berm in left center for a 2-run homer.
The Nashville Sounds continue their homestand at First Horizon Park against the Charlotte Knights.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sounds win.
Coverage begins at 6:20 on your home for the Sounds.
ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Pekka Rinne. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
I mean, how much movement is there still to do? What's the last week like leading up to the draft?
Yeah, just going back through, we watched through a couple guys last night as a group. You start the comparisons. This player versus that player. It may be vertically in the position stack, and maybe horizontally. One position versus another position. I mean, you're trying to predict guys that are going to go up ahead of where you're picking. Sometimes that's a bit of a crapshoot. So, but just some dialogue as we try to fine tune here heading into next week.
There you go. That was John Robinson at his press conference today. TD was in the house for the John Robinson press conference and got a good question, T, as he always does from John Robinson, who has shortened Teron's nickname from TD to T. But
even more of a nickname than his nickname.
Right. It's like TD is too much for John, so it's
just one
T.
single letter. Yeah.
So
poor Teresa Walker, she didn't get the label of T.
That is true. TD, have you ever thought about that?
I have not. The TD part is interesting because you got Todd Downing, Tony Dew. So I call Coach Tony TD too. We joke about that.
Can't have 3 TDs. You can have 2, but you can't have 3. No,
yeah.
It's too many. So, question for you, T, which is, as you've watched the tape of these prospects. So everybody sits there, and we all know the mock drafts and everything else. And Mel Kiper says this one says that, and that one. After what you heard today, what is in your mind as far as that 26th pick is concerned?
I really think it's, in my opinion, is one of 3 guys. Kenyon Green, Zion Johnson, or Treylon Burks. But my question, and I need to do a little bit more digging to figure out, how much separation do they feel there is from Treylon Burks to the other guys as far as your third-round options. I think that's really the thing that will determine, whether or not they take Burks at 26 if Zion Johnson and Kenyon Green are there, because I think there's significant separation from the 2 guards, right, and Johnson and Green, than there are to, your Marquise Hayes, your Luke Gadecki, those types. I think there is a bit of separation there. So I just wonder, where they would come in on Burks to a Eric Ezukama to a, even I wonder what their thoughts are on George Pickens, because there are some who feel that George Pickens is a first-round talent.
Does that make you think that Jahan Dotson, the wide receiver from Penn State, because Burks is bigger, stronger, Dotson is smaller. They were both very productive in college, but would that take you out of the Titans and Jahan Dotson as any possibility?
And that's why I asked the question about size, and evaluate.
I actually knew that's what you were asking when you asked that.
Yeah, because we've talked enough for you to, you know me well enough to know that. I just wonder, I mean, Dotson to me, even though he's not, he reminds me to an extent of Brandon Cooks, to where they're not the biggest guy, but the way they attack the football, they play above their size. And I think that's something that kind of washes away the size detriment that may be attached to them. I just don't know that they would draft a guy in the first round that isn't a big receiver. I think, Dotson fits to, in my opinion, what they need, but I don't think that they would go that route in the first round.
TD, I have to be honest with you. I think this draft stinks Where it stinks from my perspective is I'm not going to sit there and say, there aren't good players in this draft because I'm sure that's not true. And I'm not going to say there aren't good quarterbacks in this draft because I don't evaluate quarterbacks. But it feels like the perfect storm of boring teams picking at the top: Jacksonville, Detroit, Houston, Carolina. The quarterbacks don't seem very interesting. And a lot of teams don't have picks, and the bad teams have a bunch of picks. Houston's got a bunch of picks, the Jets got a bunch of picks, and I'm having a hard time getting into this draft, and I feel like the people are having a hard time getting into the draft, TD. Tell me what the real story of this draft, specifically the first round, but this draft is, and how much does it really matter as compared to the people that don't like the pop and fizzle of it?
Well, I think the real story is how the QB carousel impacted where these guys have fallen. And the fact of the matter is there are, just like any other year, there's quarterbacks that may not necessarily be a top 15 pick, but that are probably going to go. I mean, you look at that spot where the Panthers are and possibly the Falcons, 6 and 8, there's a good opportunity that Malik Willis and Kenny Pickett go there. So I think that's really what the intrigue is, that there isn't that clear-cut franchise changer, immediate franchise changer like Joe Burrow. That's not at this point in the draft. So it has lost some of its luster, but that's what it is, man. And then even if you look at players, another big story here is that there isn't a clear-cut number one. I mean, there are 4 different guys you could say, Trayvon Walker, Aiden Hutchinson, Kayvon Thibodeau, and then you got Evan Neal and Ike Okonwo. So now there's 5 guys that you could say could go first round. I mean, number one overall. So there isn't that proven, hey, this is the person. If it's not him, it may be this person, but it's going to be this guy. You don't have that this year.
We'll put you on the hot seat. How many receivers in this draft would you take over A.J. Brown?
Over A.J. Brown?
Mm-hmm.
0. I wouldn't take a single one of them over A.J. Brown. I think that A.J. Brown coming out of Ole Miss is a better prospect than any receiver in this class. Now, this is coming from someone who had him as their number one receiver that year. So that's not like any type of hindsight looking or anything like that. In my opinion, he's better than any of these guys coming out now.
And the injury situation does not concern you, or at what level does it?
I don't have concern about that. If you look at the way he plays, you're going to have some, dings and those types of things. The knees, obviously, is something that, is of concern to some, but you manage that. And I think he's already shown that he is okay with playing despite not practicing a lot. And you just continue, you manage that. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it.
Interesting. TD is with us, 615-737-1025. All your Titans questions. If it's Brown, Tannehill, draft, Vrabel, whatever. 615-737-1025. Get your questions in for TD. I do have one question for TD that I know TD doesn't know the answer to, which doesn't matter because I'm going to ask him anyways. But it is the one question that I feel like nobody has any grasp on as far as the NFL is concerned. And then we're to your questions for TD as well. 615-737-1025 is that number to get in with your thoughts with TD. Seltzerland is turning Nashville into a hard seltzer paradise on Saturday, April 30th at Riverside Golf Links. Enjoy this one-of-a-kind immersive experience as you spend the day tasting over 100 unique hard seltzers, indulge in mouth-watering munchies, tons of seltzer swag, and bust out the gram for the most Insta-worthy moments. Seltzerland has rounded up the best hard seltzer brands in the land for one epic day dedicated to the bubbly brew everyone can't get enough of. Go to theGameNashville.com/contest to enter for your chance to win tickets to Seltzerland.
Join ESPN 1025 The Game for the Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament. Benefiting Folds of Honor on May 16th at Hermitage Golf Course. Put your team together and come play with the athletes, musicians, and other local celebrities. The Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament. Sign up at theGameNashville.com/golf.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Looking at cloudy skies for the rest of the day. The storms have cleared out and the warm-up is on. 78 today with 80 for the weekend.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
The 2022 Major League Soccer season is officially here, and the Nashville SC Stadium nearly complete. Don't miss Nashville SC's home opener May 1st. Grab a seat at NashvilleSC.com/22ticks.
Hal Gill here for my good friends at Dunkin'. You know I love Dunkin', and I'm wicked happy that Dunks is all over Nashville. A newly remodeled next-gen Dunkin' location is at 1645 West Main Street in Lebanon. Of course, Dunks has the best coffee, but they have new spring items available as well. Try the salted caramel cream cold brew, shamrock macchiato made with Irish cream swirl, and the roasted tomato toast with hummus or avocado. They also have amazing chocolate croissants. So go treat yourself, go get your Dunks.
Realizing Geico is your one-stop shop for all your insurance needs is like realizing you can just toss the whole measuring cup into the washer so it won't get gunked up with laundry detergent.
I guess it doesn't work for coffee mugs, huh?
It's something that's been right in front of you this whole time, like how Geico offers 24/7 emergency roadside service to help you when you need it most. Or how athletic wristbands aren't for your wrists, they're for wiping sweat off your forehead.
Great. So, what are headbands for?
80s night at the dance club. Woo!
It's something you can't believe you never realized before, like how Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance, with even more ways to save when you add boat, motorcycle, and RV insurance. Or how a pony is its own animal and not just a baby horse.
So, what's a baby pony called?
Getting more ways to save. It's just one of the many reasons to switch to Geico. They're all right there in front of you.
Introducing the first Nashville location of Mayweather Boxing and Fitness in Midtown. Perfect for all fitness levels. Join a community that will help every person unleash their inner champ with fun, effective, and empowering group boxing circuit workouts. Become a founding member today. Stop by the brand new studio in Midtown at 2041 Broadway, Suite C, or call 629-206-9092 to join the family exclusive. Pre-opening rates now available. Mayweather Boxing and Fitness, the gold standard in boxing fitness.
It's the official Bud Light Preds watch party as your Nashville Predators take on the Tampa Bay Lightning this Saturday. The puck drops at 6, but the party starts at 5:30 with all kinds of specials. See you at headquarters, Beercade, downtown Nashville on 2nd Avenue. Go Preds!
Smokeville Smoke Shop has been serving Hendersonville and Metro Nashville since 2015 and is committed to providing high-quality, hands-on, and personable customer service. Stop into Smokeville Smoke Shops in Hendersonville, Gallatin, Hermitage, and Goodlettsville to try any of their wide selection of locally sourced products and selection of top nationwide brands, including vapes, hookah, hand-blown glass, detox systems, e-juices, kratom products, leaf wraps, and much more. Visit Smokeville Smoke Shops today.
Darren McFarland.
That should get you in the mood for a game tonight.
Willie Donick.
I think between 5.5 and 6 is probably in the ballpark.
Chase McCabe.
Typically, I like to take the most difficult task and do it first.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is on. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Tori said, them folks said they ain't going past 20. They said they know you worth it, but they ain't gonna give it to you.
Hey,
AJ Brown.
Hey, AJ Brown.
Dude from the Titans. So they told him.
Didn't he go through the draft with you?
They told him. They offered him $20 million, but they know he can get more, but they're not giving him more than 20.
That's what they told him?
Yeah.
They told him they could give him more than 20, but they're not going to.
Hey, AJ Brown.
Hey, AJ Brown. There you go. TD, your thoughts on Debo Samuel's mom's Instagram Live with Debo in the background talking to AJ on the phone and relaying his contract situation. to his stepmother for all of us to see on Instagram Live?
Well, I mean, it's not exactly a good look. I think I wouldn't want that information revealed if I was A.J. Brown. But again, like we said earlier, man, these people have, things have shifted to where so much is made public and there's so much more of a tendency to have everything on social media. And this is just par for the course.
Oh, Caroline went down Debo's stepmom's Instagram rabbit hole this morning.
Yeah, I have been deep in the Debo family social media.
Just all over the place. TD, here's my question for you, and then we're to your phone, 615-737-1025, and our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. What happens to Debo?
What happens to him?
Yeah, because I see all these people on Twitter saying, you know who should trade for Debo Samuel? And I'm kind of one of them too. But I'm seeing like these lists of where Debo's going to go. And I'm like, San Francisco doesn't look like a team that's going to trade Debo Samuel. What did you think of that, and where do you think he ends up? Or what do you think ends up happening, honestly?
Exactly. I don't see him getting traded, honestly. I think they're going to weather the storm, and he'll eventually get a deal. I mean, you look, there have been other players. Raheem Mostert asked for a trade from the 49ers. I think it was their punter. I think Robbie Gould asked for a trade also, and those guys didn't get dealt. They were brought back, and they were in the mix. Gould obviously is still there. Mostert was there for a couple of years, and he had the injury. And, I don't see them trading him, honestly.
To your phones, Malika is going to kick us off. Malika, you're on with TD. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Malika.
Hey, I'm a first-time caller. I listen all the time. I'm a huge Titans fan, and I have a lot to say with so little time. The first thing, pay A.J. Brown. You know he's a great receiver. Second, do something good with Ryan Tannehill. Why would you want to, trade A.J. Brown, then get some receiver? You're taking a risk anyway. Who knows what college player is going to be good? You're taking a risk anyway. You know A.J. Brown. You know he's going to do good. You need to think positive. And that Debo Samuel's stepmom Instagram thing, why would you do that? Would you like her stepson's contract? That's stupid. Why do people do stupid things? I don't know. But anyway, tighten up. Let's think positive. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Malika, and I appreciate you listening. Now, you did come to the wrong place if you want all positivity, because, we sometimes.
We're not always sunshine and roses.
She did call TD, so there is that.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, it's not all positive with me either, but I think she's right. I wouldn't want my information exposed like that. I do like what she said about A.J. Brown, and that's kind of what I was thinking earlier when you asked me if there was a receiver that I would take above him. No, there isn't, because, again, as Malika said, you know what you have in A.J. Brown. You made this effort to be, quote-unquote, great around Ryan Tannehill. Guess what? A.J. Brown played 13 games last year. They were 11-2 in those games. You watched the 49ers game. He accounted for, I believe it was 80% of their passing game. And that was the highest, like, in the last 3 years. So there's that.
No, they win when AJ plays. I completely agree with that. You know what? I do want to. We need to cut Debo's stepmom a little bit of slack here.
Because she did not go Instagram Live as soon as she heard that Debo was on the phone.
No, she was
like answering questions
in a smoke detector, and Debo was just hanging out right there.
I do put Debo partially at blame here.
Debo at blame, yes.
So,
Debo's stepmom, no.
No. I mean, yeah, it was her Instagram, but she was just answering questions, just doing her thing on Instagram. Her Instagram is a very fun follow. I highly recommend.
TD, your thoughts?
It doesn't need to be shared, period.
But I think that's on Debo.
Well, hey, you take it up with Debo if you'd like to. What do we have in our text line for TD?
One texter texts in and says, we all know that TD loves Elijah Moore. If he were GM, would he accept the Jets' 10 overall pick and more for AJ?
No. I would need a second-round pick this year.
Not only that, like, AJ liked a tweet the other day that basically said that he didn't want to go to the Jets.
Well,
so
I don't blame him.
Add that to the fact that one of the reasons that he would want to go to the Jets is Elijah Moore, and you take Elijah Moore out of the equation, then it doesn't seem very likely that that would work at all.
No, it does not. One texter checks in and says, AJ is good, but when he's on the field and not dropping easy balls. Is that why the Titans want to keep him, TD?
I mean, he's had his share of drops. We can't sugarcoat that. And there are some drops that have been egregious. I mean, look at the Seattle game. There were some in that one. That's something that he's just going to have to continue to work on. And, I mean, I don't think that that's a reason why they wouldn't pay him. But Keyshawn Johnson, he was on his show, Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. He has said, and he made a good point, around this time when the contracts are being negotiated, that stuff is always brought up. Oh, this person is too slow, or this person doesn't catch enough passes. This person drops the ball. And he said that was brought up with him, and he went into Bill Parcells' office and told him, hey, find somebody that could do it better. Guess what he ended up getting? A contract to come back to Dallas. So that's really what it boils down to.
Another texter texts in and asks, if the Titans do trade A.J. Brown, then would you consider that a full rebuild?
Depends on what you get. I think this team, the way that they're built, I don't think it would be a full rebuild. I think it would be a reload to where you're kind of doing it on the fly. I don't think it would be a full rebuild unless they, started over at quarterback. And I mean, like, completely started over.
I mean, to me, it seems pretty certain that they're going to take players in the draft next week to add to the mix, and they hope they can get Farley in there. And they're trying to take basically the same team last year that got the number 1 seed in the AFC, and they're going to try to not turn the ball over 3 times against the Bengals. That's my vibe.
Run it back.
Yeah, they're running it back.
And that's the thing. The way that they're built, and I wrote that they've hit their ceiling with Ryan Tannehill. I wrote that, within a week or two after that Bengals loss. I'm going to change that. I think this team can win with Ryan Tannehill, but the problem is everything has to be perfect. That's the problem. Everything has to be perfect. And it's hard to always have all 3 units have a perfect day.
That's like one of those NCAA tournaments where you get good matchups the whole way through. Like, that happens, but it very rarely. You're not banking on that happening. John is up next here on the TD Power Hour. John, you're on with Teron Davenport. Go ahead, John.
Hey, I wanted to see what your guys' thoughts was, especially with Deebo Samuel playing in California, which has one of the highest state taxes. And, I don't know if you guys were following what just took place in the NHL where forgive me, I don't remember the guy's name, but he had a list of cities that he was not willing to be traded to, and they were all Canadian, New York, and California teams. Do you think that where a player is or where he's willing to go has anything to do with the in-state taxes? And also, do you think there's a possibility that any of the leagues, I think specifically the NHL, would have or would be willing to alter salary caps based on the country or city, state that a team is in?
Thanks for the call, John.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's something that you have to look at when you're talking about the Florida teams and the Titans as well. I don't know that that's something that Deebo Samuel is weighing out, but it is something to definitely think about. And as for the NHL, I don't think that they should make any adjustments there. It kind of that comes with the territory. This is where you build. A team was set up, and it is what it is. It's kind of like warm weather versus cold weather. You got to take the punches. But I know there is a significant tax situation that you have to consider, because I remember when I was weighing out whether or not to play for Saskatchewan and Hamilton, I wanted to do that. I just in the end wasn't good enough to end up there. But I do remember my agent telling me that, hey, look, this is the amount of money you could get, but these taxes are going to take out this much.
There you go. TD and Floyd, the same spot. Getting to Canada, turning around and coming back home.
Saskatchewan is Crispy's team.
Oh, yeah.
The Rough Riders.
That is Crispy's team. TD, great stuff. As always, the draft's coming up. I know Talking with TD just dropped. Give us a little flavor of that. And, of course, we'll be talking to you a bunch next week. What do we got on Talking with TD?
Yeah, we wrapped up our prospect interview series with Matt Waletzko, who's an offensive lineman out of North Dakota, not North Dakota State, North Dakota. And then we have Trey Sterling, a DB, hard-hitting DB out of Oklahoma State. And Chris and I, we chopped it up about A.J. Brown and Ryan Tannehill so you could get more of that talk. And that's pretty much what we did.
There you go. TD, great stuff as always. Appreciate you, TD.
For sure. Appreciate you. Take care.
Yep, Teron Davenport joining us on the program, or as John Robinson calls him,
T.
Joining us. Derek Mason, former Titans All-Pro, set a record as a member of the Tennessee Titans for the most all-purpose yards in NFL history in 2000. Had a take on A.J. Brown about the Titans needing to start talking about trading A.J. We'll get our thoughts in on that next. Stillman & Company right here. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game, and as always, we're streaming on the Game Nashville app.
Take us wherever you may go.
There are two guys on my untouchable list.
Shoot us in anywhere, anytime.
Every team's got those. That's my point.
Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Bert Kreischer.
I have two little girls. Little girls are delicate. You can't just raise it like a boy. A boy you put in the backyard like a dog, it raises itself.
Bert Kreischer, live at the Opry House, April 21st.
I'm at the zoo with my two daughters, right? This blind lady comes walking through the zoo. First, I'm like, where does she think she's at? Like, what, does she enjoy the smell of animal poo and the cries of desperation? Like, help, kill me! I'm a monkey on concrete, I want to die!
Don't miss Bert Kreischer. Tickets on sale now at Opry.com.
The racing, the big one, the camping. It's all just bigger at Talladega. The Talladega NASCAR Weekend, April 23rd through the 24th. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
The designer jewelry event of 2022 is this weekend at Genesis Diamonds. See all new creations from the world's biggest names in jewelry. Store-wide savings up to 35% and take advantage of zero-interest financing. Top designers are here with their newest and most inspired lines. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, many being shown for the very first time. Special pricing across the board. Spread your payments with zero-interest financing. Extra savings on GIA-certified diamonds, too. Friday through Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Hey, what's going on? Chase McCabe here to tell you about Dr. Kelly Rice Family Cosmetic and Dental Sleep Medicine. Dr. Rice, is it true that according to the American Dental Association, roughly 80% of people in the U.S. have some form of gum disease?
That's right, but our non-surgical periodontal therapy is painless and effective in keeping your mouth healthy. And the mouth is the window to the health of the rest of the body.
I know you have some different things that you offer. What else can you tell us?
Well, first, who doesn't want whiter teeth? Our new Zoom LED whitening system is less sensitive, and you get more than 5 shades of whitening. And we just upgraded both our lasers to kill bacteria during your cleaning.
What about taking care of cold sores some people may have, which can become painful? Can lasers help with that too?
Yes, the gentle laser setting will kill the virus in your cold sores all naturally while reducing the healing time by half. And our special soft tissue wand uses warm, light laser therapy to give instant relief to severe TMJ pain. Our approach to holistic dentistry is unique.
Give Dr. Kelly Rice Family Cosmetic and Dental Sleep Medicine a call today at 615-373-4488 or visit kellyerice.com. You'll certainly be glad you did.
Music City. Start a profitable new chapter of your life and be your own boss with your very own Little Guys Movers franchise. In fact, no matter where you are, from Green Hills to the Gulch to down in Franklin, if you can hear my voice, there's an affordable, profitable Little Guys franchise opportunity nearby. Use your existing 401k to invest in yourself. Financing options are available. Join a team with 30 plus years of growth and good times. Learn more at littleguysfranchise.com. That's littleguysfranchise.com. And then make that call.
Join us for the Smashville Open House on Saturday, April 23rd at Bridgestone Arena. This is your opportunity to select a seat for 2022-23 season tickets. Tour the Nashville Predators locker room, enjoy Nash's closet cleanout, and take your shot on net to win a pair of half-season tickets. It's the perfect event for the whole family. Kids can enjoy inflatables, a balloon artist, and more. Plus, watch the Preds in action against the Lightning on Fang Vision. We'll see you April 23rd. Visit NashvillePredators.com/open house.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting 97.5 Murfreesboro, 106.3 Williamson County.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. 1 week away from the NFL Draft. The least exciting and the least anticipated NFL Draft that I can remember in some time. I saw somebody today that was like, do you think the Lions could move up with the Jags to go from 2 to 1 and draft Aiden Hutchinson to keep him home in Michigan? And I'm like, oh, dear God. Like, I don't care about the Jags. I don't care about the Lions. And I certainly don't care about Aiden Hutchinson. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't. I just can't do it. Now, the Titans and A.J. Brown, they've been talking about a contract negotiation for what feels like forever. I mean, how long ago were the owners' meetings? A month ago?
March-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there it was, the Jets are keeping an eye on A.J. Brown, everybody. And we're like, oh, that doesn't matter. That's nothing. And then the Titans said that it was nothing. And then there was more that was coming out, and the Titans kept saying it was nothing. And then there was more and more. And today, John Robinson met with the media, and I asked him point blank, is there any chance A.J. gets traded?
Is there any chance that A.J. could be traded between now and that?
I think I've spoke on that several times now, so do not foresee that happening.
Don't foresee that happening, to which everybody says that gives John Robinson a little wiggle room. He didn't say no. He did not say no.
He didn't commit to anything.
So here's the deal. Here's what we know. We know the Titans have offered $20 million, right?
Yes.
Okay, because it was in the Deebo Samuel's mom's Instagram video, whatever.
And it checks out with Mike Evans and the other wide receivers.
Chris Godwin and Mike Williams.
Chris Godwin and Mike Williams, the
Torrey
other
Gandy
receivers under
those
Torrey
deals for
Gandy.
those
Yes.
So it checks out. Now the money's so much for receivers that it's like, here's what I think happened. I think that they essentially had a 4-year 80, and again, this is all me, no sourcing, though there's probably a little sourcing in here, but it's not like sourced information.
Mm-hmm.
4 years, $80 million. I think it was done. I think it was, hey, we're going to do it. Let's get through free agency first. Then let's talk about how to make it, cap whatever.com, bullcrap, whatever. 4 years, 80. Good. All right, good. Tyreek Hill gets traded. Devontae Adams gets traded. The average amount of money for a wide receiver is not 20 anymore. Christian Kirk signs. It's like, no. 4 years, that's not good enough. We need 25. We need 26. We need, somewhere up there. Tyreek Hill's 30. Stephon Diggs, 24. He got even more new money on his contract. That's not going to work for us. And that's where I think the impasse is. And I think some of this is the Titans looking at the situation saying, we have leverage on AJ. We're trying to give you $20 million per season, though that number to me never matters. But we're trying to give you $20 million. You are not a market free agent. You're not there. We're not doing that. And I think that's where the back and forth is coming. That's where AJ, thinks he feels disrespected, is you think that I'm worth more than 20 and you won't give it to me. Screw you guys. I think that's why Tennessee's out of the Twitter bio. I think the Titans are convinced that they can't go get another AJ Brown, so they want to make this work, but they don't want to crap away all their leverage. I get it. But Derek Mason was on our show earlier today, former Titans all-pro wide receiver, and D. Mace wanted everybody to know that there comes a point in time where the Titans just simply don't have a choice anymore.
Both sides need to press hard for a deal to be done before Thursday. And if you can't get it done, man, this is sports. I know how much everybody loves AJ. I love him as a player, but he got to go if you can't get anything done. I mean, I don't know why everybody's scared to say, hey, he might have to be traded. It seems like everybody's tiptoeing around that because they don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. But that might happen. It happens in sports. People get traded. We didn't think that, Tyreek Hill would get traded. He got traded. There's been people, Russell Wilson, he got traded. So it's not too far-fetched to say that AJ might get traded in this situation.
Okay. Then, Derek, I asked the question. Now, here's the thing that bothers me. If you go to Tory Dandy and you say, we need to get this done, like we need a serious offer from you, and if your serious offer is ridiculous, then like we have to move on. And Tory Dandy, I think, needs the Titans to do the same thing. And I said, look, if you start shopping A.J. Brown, if you pick up one phone and you start talking about a trade for A.J. Brown, and by the time you put that phone down, that deal's not done or it's not on, there's not a process of it getting done, it's going right to ESPN. It's going right to Schefter. It's going to be right out there. Titans trying to trade A.J. Brown. And if the Titans are trying to trade A.J. Brown, who is going to be pissed?
A.J. Brown?
A.J. Brown. And I asked Derek, if you're the Titans, how do you manage the fact that A.J. clearly is sensitive to this?
Damn a sensitivity. If you give him the money, he'll stop being mad. Money talks. All that other stuff walks, man. If they pay him what he's want, he could be mad today or tomorrow or the next day. If the Titans come in there with a contract that he loves, he will stop being mad. So just look at it from that standpoint. This business is not about making friends. It's really not. It's about winning ball games at the end of it. It's a business. Everybody screams it's a business until their feelings get hurt. And then all of a sudden, it's no longer a business. No, it's a business, and it's going to remain a business. So it's either give A.J. the money or, trade him away and get something for him. And I'm sure either way, A.J. will be happy because either he's going to get his money here or he's going to get his money somewhere else.
Your thoughts?
I think the part about, if the Titans come forward with a contract, then, he's not going to worry. The sensitivity is going to go away. But I think that's the whole root of the sensitivity is the money, is the contract, because the contract is a direct reflection of the value that the Titans place on A.J. Brown, is a direct reflection, or maybe A.J. Brown sees it as a direct reflection of how much the Titans respect A.J. And I think that we've seen from his many little tirades on social media that that's what he values, is the respect. And he wants to be appreciated and valued how he thinks he is. And I think that's exactly what it is the money. The contract, he feels like doesn't respect him enough. So That's where the sassiness comes from. That's where the social media response comes from. So whenever he sees a contract or a dollar amount that he feels like is adequate for how much he brings this team, that he thinks that's respecting him enough from the Titans, then that's going to go away. So, yes, it is all about the money.
My issue here is that AJ needs to bring the sensitivity down a little bit. This is how these things get done, right? Like, there's back and forth, there's negotiating. Now, I'm not mad at AJ because it was Deebo Samuel's fault that audio got out. Although, it was really, you have to admit, it was kind of an accident. His mom is putting batteries into a smoke detector. She's not paying attention to what Deebo's doing. Deebo's over there just doing whatever. And it's like, oh, yeah, I'm talking to A.J. Brown. Here's what I'm saying. Deebo probably doesn't know she's on camera.
And in his mom's defense, she's like, oh, wasn't that A.J. Brown guy
in
your
draft
class? She doesn't know what's going on.
And so, it's not anybody's fault, but the business is out there. And the business here is that I think the Titans were good with 80/4. I don't know that because I haven't talked to the Titans about this. All my talking to the Titans you heard today in the press conference. Mm-hmm. But I think the Titans are fine with 80/4. And I think once AJ saw everybody else get their money, AJ felt like he was owed his money. Clearly, all the talking about how much they love AJ doesn't mean crap to AJ. And it probably shouldn't because, as Derek said, it's all about money.
That's what I'm saying. It's all about the money. It goes back to the money.
I think the Titans should be willing to trade him. This idea, Robinson, I don't foresee that. I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, why not?
Well, of course he's going to say that because we've seen the response from A.J. Brown whenever the reviews aren't glowing.
But who cares? Why do you care?
I mean,
because if you try to trade him, then he'll get mad and request a trade?
Maybe so.
Okay, and he tries to request a trade, and then he ends up getting his money on a deal, and he signs the deal?
I guess so.
Then he'll be happy. So it doesn't matter. Why does it matter? Why does it matter that A.J. Brown's mad? Why does it matter?
I think it matters to John Robinson and Mike Vrabel.
Why?
Negotiating is easier.
If you
they don't want to
in,
have to deal with it.
If you cave in on this, what are you going to do when you try to leverage Jeffrey Simmons' 5th-year option and 2 franchise tags?
And that's the difficult thing here.
And not only that, the franchise tag, I think, does not benefit the Titans in the A.J. Brown scenario. Because, I mean, right now we're looking at $20 million. I can think off the top of my head at least 3 receivers right now who make more than 20, and that's where average per year does matter, is on the franchise tag, because they take the top 5 at that position. So you've got Tyreek at 30, you've got Adams, I think, at 29, you've got Diggs at 24, and I think there's a couple of them that are in there. So AJ's probably looking at about 23, 24, because Hill at 30 is dragging it so much further in that direction. But what about defensive tackle? Because if you're going to leverage Simmons, $10 million next year, franchise. I know there's some DTs that make a lot of money, but, like, for instance, I think you're not looking at Simmons' money. So then if you're Simmons and you just completely kowtowed to A.J. Brown's sensitivity and I want my money, why would I not do the exact same thing that he did to get his money? Think about that. 615-737-1025. We'll throw your calls in on this and your texts. 615-737-1025. But I'm with Derek. I think at some point you got to look at this and tell AJ, this is a business. This is a business. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Join us 1025 The Game this Saturday night for the Preds Bud Light Watch Party at Headquarters Beercade. Drink specials, enter to win Preds tickets, and watch Predators take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's the Preds Bud Light Watch Party at Headquarters Beercade, 114 2nd Avenue South downtown. Puck drops at 6 o'clock Saturday night.
Tune in every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. for Nashville's own Jason Fitz with Jared Stillman and company. Fitz started his sports talk career right here on 1025 The Game, and now he anchors shows for ESPN. Jason Fitz is brought to you by Blood Assurance. Give blood. Give local. Give life.
No matter the weather, it's a perfect day to consider getting a COVID-19 booster, as recommended by the CDC. Brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Don't miss the historic opening of Geodis Park on May 1st as Nashville SC comes home for the first time of the 2022 season. Become a season ticket member starting at only $357 to ensure you are there for the big day. Come on in and grab a seat at NashvilleSC.com/22ticks.
It's the official Bud Light Preds Watch Party as your Nashville Predators take on the Tampa Bay Lightning this Saturday. The puck drops at 6, but the party starts at 5:30 with all kinds of specials. See you at Headquarters Beercade, downtown Nashville on 2nd Avenue. Go Preds!
Trying to find a new home right now is next to impossible. Very little inventory, prices are crazy high, rates are moving up. Here's a better idea. Let my friends at Loan Pronto refinance your current home, turn all that equity you have into cash, and totally transform your house. A new kitchen, new bathroom, a pool. Think about it. Your home value is up. Instead of wasting all that on an overpriced new house, convert that equity into cash for a home makeover. One local couple did it and got $200,000 out. They added new hardwoods, an outdoor living space, a swimming pool with spa and all new cabinets and appliances, plus a home office. Now they have their dream home, and they never had to move. Call Loan Pronto. Ask about their home improvement refi. Give your home a total makeover and do it now. You can even skip your next house payment in the process. Call now, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics wants to thank their patients for voting them the #1 orthopedic practice in the Nashville Scene Poll for 3 years in a row. Their physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all physicians, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
Smokeville Smoke Shop has been serving Hendersonville and Metro Nashville since 2015 and is committed to providing high-quality, hands-on, and personable customer service. Stop into Smokeville Smoke Shops in Hendersonville, Gallatin, Hermitage, and Goodlettsville to try any of their wide selection of locally sourced products and selection of top nationwide brands, including vapes, hookah, hand-blown glass, detox systems, e-juices, kratom products, leaf wraps, and much more. Visit Smokeville Smoke Shops today.
Do I need Medicare when I turn 65, or can I wait?
With more than 70 years of experience helping Tennesseans, Farm Bureau Health Plans can answer all your questions about Medicare.
Part A, B, C, D, it's all alphabet soup to me.
So if you're looking for an affordable way to cover the gaps left by Medicare or protection from the high cost of prescription drugs, you can plan on us to make it easy. Find out more at fbhp.com. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Plan on us.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
How the receiver market has exploded so much when you look at these recent contracts.
Yeah, I don't know what the trends are with that, T, but it's it's interesting to look at and where that has shifted. Every year it seems like certain positions there's ebbs and flows with where those markets goes. A couple years ago, the safety market was down. That's when I think we got Kenny Vaccaro. He was out there for a while, and we were fortunate enough that he was there in August. So, just kind of year to year how those market trends are.
There you go. That was John Robinson. I don't want to throw John under the bus, but one of the keys when you're answering questions like that in GM talk is to tell people things they already know, but act like it's new information. So to sit there and be like, like 1 year they had, the safety market was down, so we ended up getting dude, that has nothing to do with this. That has absolutely nothing to do with this. And it's not like a smooth transition into saying nothing. It was just saying nothing. Vrabel is actually very good at saying nothing.
But
and yet
making
you feel like
exciting.
You listen to Vrabel and it's like whatever. It's amazing how that works. Again, we're on the AJ contract. Somebody texted me. I want to get to this because I want to read this text. It's very interesting. Somebody texted me and said, "You are more fascinated with trading AJ than keeping AJ. You did not ask TD what the contract for AJ should be." Can I tell you why I didn't ask TD what the contract for AJ should be?
I think I have an idea, but please tell the people.
Because they don't care. Because the money's fake. Because it doesn't matter. AJ, you want $28 million a year? Here you go. Yeah, we'll give you a $10 million signing bonus. We'll give you a $4 million salary this year. We'll give you a roster bonus that comes due on the 8th day of the league year of the year of our Lord, 2027. And we'll guarantee this, but we won't guarantee it for that. And if you catch a football with your rear end, we'll give you an extra $5 million. And, you can say the deal is up to $5 billion. Congratulations, you own the franchise, except that you don't. It doesn't matter. That's why when they talk about the average money per year, that number does not matter. It doesn't matter. It matters to the Titans because the Titans don't want to write the biggest check possible. That's where it matters. But as far as the cap, what do you think about a fair contract for AJ? I think 4 years, 80 is fine. The deal that I think they thought they were going to do before the receiver market exploded, I'm fine with. And I don't have a dog in this fight, which is another reason why I don't really care. I care about AJ being on the team, and I care about the trading, and I care about that. But I don't care about the actual contract itself. But I do care about the Titans using their leverage. And they have leverage. They've got him for $4 million this year. They can franchise him tag, which, again, I do think the franchise tag would be more than $20 million. But then it would definitely be more the next year when they tag him to $120, and then AJ could hit, the market and get as much money as he wants. But I wouldn't let that happen. I trade him before that happens. That's the stuff I care about. The idea of do I care if it's $23 million as opposed to $20 million, or do I care if it's $25 million as opposed to? I don't care about that. I used to care about that. I'm smart enough now to know that the money does not matter. The real money, the cash, matters. The leverage matters because you can't say to Jeff Simmons, "Sorry, Jeff, we have you for $10 million next year on a 5th-year option, and then we're going to franchise tag you." You can't say that to him if you just give in to A.J. Brown. You can't do it. Now, A.J. could play this year and then get the big bucks, and that would be in line with what the Titans did as far as Harold Landry is concerned. But you can't just give in to A.J. because if you give in to A.J., then you have to do it for every player that comes after A.J.
Do you have to?
Yes. What are you going to do, lose Simmons?
No.
So what are you going to do?
I mean, is the way that you negotiate with AJ the same way that you negotiate with every other player? Because it seems like the way that they're negotiating with AJ now doesn't resemble players of the past.
Well, if you're playing favorites, then that's going to be a problem.
And that's what we've talked about is if you are going to kiss the ground that A.J. Brown walks on, then other players are going to expect that too.
But see, they don't
and you're
care
going
about
to create some animosity there.
No, I don't think just like I don't think A.J. cares about what they're saying publicly about. Now, if they say something bad, I think A.J. will lose his mind. I mean, he'll get very upset. I think if I feel like Simmons doesn't care about that. Derrick Henry doesn't care about that.
I know Derrick Henry doesn't care
But
about
when
that.
it comes to money, wait a minute, hold on. You gave him a contract before his last year, and you gave him a full contract, even though you could have controlled his money, and you didn't, but now you're doing that to me. Well, I don't want to be here. That I do think you have to worry about, the Simmons element of this. But again, they had the leverage on Lawan, and they gave him the contract. They had, I guess, technically the leverage on Kevin Byard, and they gave him the contract. So,
but in terms of the
maybe it doesn't
contract,
matter.
the numbers don't necessarily, you can pick apart the 22 versus 24 versus 25 all day long. But I think there is one aspect of the contract that absolutely does matter, and that's a no-trade clause.
Well, I'm not doing that. There's no trade clause. That's not an
that's
option.
what I think is worth entertaining.
Phones, driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. What do we have?
One texter texts in and says $15 million max for AJ.
Well, that's not going to happen. Next. $15 million?
I'm reading the
Christian
text.
Kirk. Christian Kirk is like $18 million. $15 million. They already have offered $20 million. So if you're going to text in and say $15 million, well, that's impossible. They've already offered $20. If you were making $70,000 at your job and they offered you $80,000 and they came back and said, nope, $60, that would never happen. What's next?
Craig texts in and says, if you trade AJ, we could be bad next year. Then you would have possibly a top 10 pick next year, plus any picks you get from trading AJ, and we might just end up getting a receiver and our next quarterback from it.
So I there's like this long story that Tom Brady told about some Chinese farmer, and the farmer's son didn't have to fight in the war, and people said that this is great that he didn't have to fight in the war, and Brady said that the Chinese farmer says maybe. Because you never really know. Even when you think something is bad, sometimes it turns into something really good. People get fired all the time, and they say, the best thing ever happened to me was getting fired. So maybe if they trade AJ, then they're bad next year, then they get these picks, then they hit on these picks, then they go and they succeed and they do. Maybe. Again, the key word there is maybe. Again, I'm not one to get excited about being the 1 seed last year in the AFC, considering that I thought that was kind of fool's gold anyways, especially the way you lost in the playoffs. And I don't think that you're going to be able to beat 3 of these quarterbacks in a row with Ryan Tannehill, but I'm also not packing it in. They're running it back. So they're going to try. They're going to hope that this year Derrick Henry doesn't get hurt. They're going to hope this year that they've got more stability on the offensive line. They're going to hope this year that the defense does not take a step back after the progress they made last year. They're going to hope that the knees of Caleb Farley and Robert Woods and Bud Dupree and Jeffrey Simmons and everybody else that's got a knee injury, they're going to hope that those all are fine to go, and, fine and dandy, and they're going to move on with it. They're not tanking. They were the number 1 seed in the AFC playoffs last year. What's next?
Another texter texts in and says, if it doesn't matter, then why not just offer him a number to keep him?
So here's the one thing that I do think is, and TD brought this up, which is the second bite at the apple. There's a chance in 4 years A.J. Brown is still good, and then you're going to have to pay him again.
But there's also a chance that he's not.
Right, but you don't have to sign him to a second contract if he's not.
Correct.
But
But that's the problem that presents itself.
But if you
overinflate him,
if you inflate the last year of this contract to a number that's absurd and he doesn't produce, that's easy to cut. If he does produce, but then you got to pay him $45 million on the 5th year, then you're not going to do that. Even though he's good, then you're in trouble. Then you try to work out a new deal. Then you all of a sudden have Kirk Cousins. And that's not what you want to do. And that's not what they want to do. The Predators, speaking of what you want to do, the Predators beat Calgary the other night, and yet it was good that they won. That was all I got to say about it. It was good that they won. Crispy, after they gave up 7 goals on his day, Crispy will join us next. We'll get his thoughts on the Predators as they hit the home stretch here. The Predators are going to make the playoffs, by the way. Obvious to me. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. I love my friends at Hiller. Hiller is giving away free vacations for you and your family this month. With every purchase of a new whole home generator or select new HVAC systems, Hiller is giving you a free week-long vacation. And with every purchase of a new tankless water heater, Hiller is giving you a free weekend vacation, and they're giving you a Visa Rewards card to help pay for your gas to get you there. Choose from over 400 Marriott, Wyndham, Hilton, or Hyatt hotel properties. Take advantage of this unbelievable deal while you can, because these deals are only available for a limited time. So make sure you schedule today. Visit happyhiller.com for all the details. As always, happy you'll be, or your service is free. It's that simple. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Preds, the Vols, and Vandy. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
Saturday night.
He scores! Mikhail Kronman! Shot at the score by Philip Forsberg!
The Predators head south to take on the defending Stanley Cup champions Tampa Bay Lightning. Pre-game at 5. Face-off at 6. On Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Spring has sprung, which means it's time to renew your home with Social Furniture. It's their Spring Fling sale, where all furniture is up to 50% off. That's right, up to 50% off on top name brands such as Serta, Sealy, Simmons, Caracol, Bernhardt, and Woodhouse. At Social Furniture, you'll find new bedroom furniture, mattresses, and sofas, all up to 50% off. Spring into Social Furniture today on Charlotte Avenue in West Nashville. Shop local, shop social. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
Genesis Diamond's once-a-year spring extravaganza is here. This weekend, 3 days of phenomenal savings store-wide. You save up to 35% off Genesis already guaranteed best prices. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, and more. Plus, special finance. You can even trade in your old jewelry for some amazing new designs from our world-class designers who flew in just for this. Extra savings on GIA-certified diamonds, too. It's our biggest sale all year. This Friday through Sunday only. And only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. The playoffs are here, and you can make every game feel like Game 7 on FanDuel Sportsbook, an official partner of the NBA. Through all the playoffs, all customers can place a no-sweat same-game parlay each week. You'll get up to $20 in free bets if you don't win. FanDuel has so many ways to play, and best of all, when you do and you win, you'll get paid faster than a fast break. I gotta love what the Grizzlies are doing. Even without Ja, they're one of the best teams in the league, but with him, they could win it all. New to FanDuel, just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up with the promo code JGM. Once again, that's promo code JGM. If you've already got an account, you're all set to go. No sweat. Either way, you'll get up to $20 in free bets in your same-game parlay during the playoffs, even if it doesn't win. FanDuel Sportsbook, an official partner of the NBA. 21 and older and present, Tennessee. Refund issue is non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max free bets, $20 per week. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Join us for the Smashville Open House on Saturday, April 23rd at Bridgestone Arena. This is your opportunity to select a seat for 2022-23 season tickets. Tour the Nashville Predators locker room. Take a shot on net to win a pair of half-season tickets and more. That's right, you could win half-season tickets. Plus, you'll watch your Preds in action against the Lightning on Fang Vision. We'll see you at Bridgestone Arena on April 23rd. Visit NashvillePredators.com/open house for more information. Let's go, Preds!
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game.
So the Predators took on the Calgary Flames Tuesday night. They won 3-2 in a shootout. Now, you know a shootout's never going to happen in the playoffs, and 3-on-3 overtime's never going to happen in the playoffs. But it was good that they won, and it was good what happened yesterday, though it would have been nicer if Laviolette and Washington didn't blow the game. If they had won the game, then Vegas would essentially be out, and the Predators would essentially be in. But they've got, I believe, a 97% chance to make the playoffs. They've got a game left with Arizona. They're going to make the playoffs. They'll be fine. Everybody out there that's worried, they'll be fine. But Ryan Johansson said something very interesting on Robby and Rexrode yesterday. And it was about the confidence that he got from beating Calgary. Mind you, this was Calgary on the back end of a back-to-back with a lot less to play for than you did, and with a backup goalie in there, and you blew a 2-0 lead that you had with 6 minutes to go in the second period. And yet this is what Ryan Johansson had to say. Well, Johansson basically said that he thinks they can beat Calgary in a playoff series now that they beat them on a Tuesday night. Terry Crisp joins us on the program as always. Crispy, appreciate you. I do not believe what Ryan Johansson believes that is good for him, that he believes they can beat Calgary in a playoff series after what he saw Tuesday. What did you see Tuesday?
You know what? I almost agree with him. We'll give them a run. They won't run over top us, but we'll find out. You know what the proof in the pudding is going to be? They're coming right back in here again. So they'll be right back in here, Tuesday, I think. We get another crack at them. They get another crack at us. I want to see how that one goes. Then I'll tell you what I really do think about it. But he's got the right attitude, and I love it. You don't go in thinking you're not going to win the darn thing. What the heck?
So Caroline asked me after Tuesday's win if I was encouraged, and I said no. And I just said that I wasn't discouraged. If they had lost that game, Crispy, I would have after having a 2-0 lead with 6 minutes to go in the second period, and then giving up a goal in 9 seconds on the power play, I would have absolutely lost my mind if they had lost that game, especially if they had lost it in regulation the other night. But I wasn't encouraged either. I mean, they were playing with a backup goalie. They were on the back end of a back-to-back. And with that 2-0 lead, I would have wanted the Predators to really grab the bull by the horns. And I felt like they didn't do it. I felt like they were clock watching just like I was. And I thought that ultimately bit them in the butt on Tuesday night. What did you think?
You know what? I think that the best thing was one of the better games I've seen our team play defensively. I was encouraged the way we played against this. They're a powerhouse offensively. They got the units coming at you. They're like the Blues, St. Louis Blues. Every line goes out there is capable of scoring. Every line is coming at you. You got some big bodies out there on those lines. The one area I really liked and thought we played one of the better games in I might even say a month was defensively. You recall how many odd man rushes they didn't have. The Flames, that game. And we slammed the gate on that one. We come through the neutral zone a whole lot better than we did against the Blues. And hardly ever got through. So, all in all, I was very encouraged with that game. If we can play that, just pick it up a little better, a little more around the net, the far end, the offensive zone, I'll be happy.
Terry Crisp is our guest. Crispy, do you think this team is where they need to be entering the playoffs, or do you think that they need to maybe kick it up a gear?
But you know what? I said the other night, and I got a little slap in the wrist after, but I haven't slapped enough times in the wrist. And I remember Mace the next game saying the same thing, or alluding to it. A sense of urgency in your game. And to me, a sense of urgency is that maybe the whole game, but when you come into the third period and you're in the game, you're up a goal or up two, that's when you hammer down. You go after them. This attitude that you have, you don't play not to lose. That drives me nuts. You play to add to it. You play to roll it and just keep piling up the goals as many as you can get in there. You don't just play to, okay, we got a 2-goal lead, now let's just, no. We keep advancing, keep moving, keep forechecking, keep going to the net, doing all the things we should do. And that's the one area I'm looking for in the next few games. Tomorrow night in Tampa will be very interesting to see how we come out.
How much are you placing? It looks like the Predators, honestly, even if they don't win another game, there's a chance the Predators are going to make the playoffs. They get the one game with Arizona. If they win that, it's going to be hard for the Predators to not make the playoffs at this point. How much do you weigh in the playoffs right now, and how much do you think about the game the Predators are playing going into the playoffs, Crispy?
You think a lot of it. You want to hit the playoffs, and I've said this before so many times, Stiller. You want to hit the playoffs, the starting line going full tilt. When that gun goes off to start the first shift of the playoffs, you want your team playing as good as they can play. Remember the old days, you used to rest guys, send them to Florida for a week, pull your lineup, take some guys out. your top guns and rest them. No, that's not a thing anymore. Now you want your team. This is where you start to drive and start to put the pedal down. Not that you overwork anything, but you make sure that they're playing, they're ready to go and ready to play our game. And that's what I want to see in the next few games.
How much do you look at next week and the opportunity to play against Colorado, who's a potential first-round team and maybe the best team in the league, period, and Calgary again? How much do you value those two games?
I value them because we play better. I mean, we play – somebody said the other day, and I didn't want to bring it up again, but they said, why do we always play down to our level, like down to the level of the opposition if we're playing a team that's not up? And then when we come in against Calgary and against Tampa and against not the Blues so much, we kick it into gear. We play better. But you know what? If I knew that, I might still be coaching, and a lot of other coaches would be too. It's just something that I don't know why guys think they should change anything, play any differently than you would against Chicago or one of the lower teams than you would against Tampa or Florida or Colorado. You come and you play your game and you play it hard.
Terry Crisp is our guest. I got a little depressed the other night, Crispy, because I was talking to one of the fans who is a diehard fan and, just loves the team through and through and called me out in 2017 when I said that the Predators couldn't beat the Chicago Blackhawks in a playoff series and was having no part of it. And I ran into him at the arena the other day, and I asked him, I said, are you optimistic going into the playoffs? And he looked at me kind of nervously and was like, not really. And I was like, you were Mr. Optimistic, and he's not optimistic. And then Crispy, he said to me, he goes, the thing that's crazy, though, is all it takes is a good game one in either Calgary or Colorado, and that can change everything. And we have seen upsets in this league. We know that the margin is so small, especially when you get into the playoffs, but it just doesn't feel like the Predators are at a level, Crispy, where they can really take on the big boys. And that's what they're going to be doing next week, and that's what they're going to be doing regardless of who they play between Calgary or Colorado in the playoffs. And I guess I'm looking for that optimism, and I sometimes wonder if the fans have it right now.
You know, I in a way I sort of agree, except that I think that these next 4 or 5 games are going to show you might win them all. But I want to see a full bore 60 minutes right to the end. I don't care. Don't even bother with the scoreboard. I want us in the lead, obviously. I want us 2 points. Yeah. But I want to make sure we're playing our game. I expect in these last 4 games to show the herd line to come back into it again. I've been watching them, and I'm waiting for them to start to get to the net, to start to be the line that every time out there, they're in front of the other net. They're making something happen, tipping pucks, getting shots, making it count. That's the one area I want to see in these next few games happening.
Crispy, can I tell you the one thing that got up my rear end this week, and I just want to vent to you about it? I'm going to take that as a yes.
I was going to say, I was just thinking, what's he up to now? So I took a calm, deep breath. Okay, go ahead.
So they lost on your night, Terry Crisp night, which I thought the ceremony for you was awesome. I thought the weekend for you was awesome, and I don't think anybody deserved it more than you did. But then they give up 7 freaking goals in a period, and I don't like that. But what really drove me insane was after the game, everybody, the coach, the general manager, people who work for the team, I'm sure the players probably thought this because everybody was saying it, but it was like, we could have been up 3-0 in that first period. And so, if we're up 3-0 in the first period, then, that game was a tough one. And I'm like, first of all, no, you were not up 3-0 at the end of the first period. I mean, I hate to break it to you, but this is sports. Either you score the goal or you don't score the goal. And 2, even if you were up 3-0 on Fairy Tale Island, even if you were up 3-0, it wouldn't have mattered because they scored 7 goals and you'd have been down 7-3. And it just drove me bananas this week, Crispy.
I got to ask you a serious question. Where is Fairy Tale Island?
It's apparently where you work on Sunday night was Fairy Tale Island, where it could have been 3-0 after 1 period.
I like that one. I might steal that one on you, Spiller.
Oh, it got me. I will say this, though.
Hey, those guys, like everybody else, we were all shocked. I mean, it was just like one. And the one area that I'm really ticked off is breakaways. I mean, they must have had 6, 7, 8 breakaways. They scored in 4 or 5 of them. And that's totally outrageous. There's no call for that. There's no reason in a period to have that, because you have a couple, then you figure it out. Okay, here's what we got to do. Like I said, that's why I'm encouraged. They come right back the next game against Calgary and played smart defense, better defense. Our defensemen were thinking out there. They weren't just throwing blind passes around. They weren't pinching in the boards looking for points or pinching down and going deep in the offensive zone to try and make a maybe play, might keep the puck in. They were reading the plays. They were backing out when they should, going in when they should have. In our zone, they played much, much better, getting the puck out faster, because the faster we get the puck out, the better off I feel, believe me.
Terry Crisp, last one for you, Crispy. How good was it, though, to beat Calgary after what happened on Terry Crisp night?
It was paramount. Never mind the Terry Crisp night or whatever. It was paramount for our team and for their confidence and for what they did after the Blues. And like I said, the 2 points was what we wanted, but I liked the attitude they came back with. I liked the game. Now, I'm looking very interesting tomorrow night to see what kind of an attitude we take onto the ice.
There you go, Crispy. As always, you are the man. Everybody cheering loud for you. I couldn't be there Sunday. I had to work, but I was watching it on TV. Thought it was a great ceremony. As I said, nobody deserves it more than you. Crispy, see you Sunday at the rink.
See you there, buddy. Take care. Thanks, Taylor.
Yep. Terry Crisp joining us on the program. It was big that they won that game.
It was big.
But I was not encouraged by the win. It was more like if they had, his point, urgency. I talked about grabbing the bull by the horns. He said urgency. If they had played with urgency with that 2-0 lead with 6 minutes to go, found a way to make it 3-0, Calgary would have packed it in. You could have felt good about a 3 or 4-0 victory, and on you go. Instead, it's overtime, and it's like, well, it was backup goalie, back end of a back-to-back. It was 3-on-3 overtime. It was a shootout. Things that won't happen in the playoffs. So, speaking of things that won't happen, there is a story in Nashville that I can say, beyond a shadow of a doubt, in my opinion, is the stupidest story that comes up about every 3 months. And of the 7 years that I've been on the radio in Nashville, I am convinced this is the single stupidest story. And boy, did it become a big deal the other day. We're into that next. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game. And we'll give away some Sounds tickets next segment while we're at it as well. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Do you have that one person or thing that just makes you mad? Join us every Friday at noon on the DDC for You Just Made the List. Fueled by Parman Energy. Visit ParmanEnergy.com, your one-stop petroleum solution, and try Star Movie on the DDC on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
You just made the list! From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bovis. Overnight tonight, mild low temperatures. Upper 50s as we head into tomorrow. We'll see the rest of our cloud cover break. Mainly sunny. A high of 83 degrees, and we'll stay in the low to middle 80s on Saturday as well.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Staples stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Calling a criminal defense lawyer or a divorce lawyer, you may think it's the worst day of your life. It doesn't have to be. If you have quality, competent representation who can guide you through a complex system, we can do that for you. Despite if you've been arrested for a DUI or a robbery charge, whether or not you're going through a divorce or a post-divorce, or demanding your fundamental constitutional right to parent your children. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
Finding the right person for the job isn't easy. Just ask someone who hired a lounge singer to be their office receptionist.
Hello, this is Mickey Marquis, and you've reached the office of Doug & Associates. Thank you very much. Catch me Tuesday nights at the Hotel Johnson. Hello?
But if you've got an insurance question, you can always count on your local Geico agent. They can bundle your policies, which could save you hundreds.
Doug and Associates, this is Mickey Market. Hello?
For expert help with all your insurance needs, visit geico.com/local today.
And now it's Geico's Motorcycle Rules of the Road. Avoid biking in the rain and never touch another person's bike.
Hey guys, look at these bikes. So shiny. Whoops. I'm gonna leave a note. Oh gosh, there's more.
And the rule to saving on motorcycle insurance is, in 15 minutes, Geico could save you 15% or more.
Parman Tractor and Equipment is your one-stop tractor and equipment solution. And Middle Tennessee's Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer. Rent or purchase a track loader, mini excavator, large excavators for your job site, or something in between. Parman is now hiring and seeking qualified candidates for construction equipment truck drivers, service technicians, and more. Apply at parmantractor.com or call 615-865-7800. Come be an employee owner with the Parman team, your Middle Tennessee Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer.
Smokeville Smoke Shop has been serving Hendersonville and Metro Nashville since 2015 and is committed to providing high-quality, hands-on, and personable customer service. Stop into Smokeville Smoke Shops in Hendersonville, Gallatin, Hermitage, and Goodlettsville to try any of their wide selection of locally sourced products and selection of top nationwide brands, including vapes, hookah, hand-blown glass, detox systems, e-juices, kratom products, leaf wraps, and much more. Visit Smokeville Smoke Shops today.
Darren McFarland.
And a mulligan that we all look for in golf. Lord knows our game could use it.
Willie Donick.
Outworked and outperformed a lot of other really good players.
Chase McCabe.
I want some sort of trade protection.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Why exactly can this work for you guys, and how much you guys have thought about making this work?
Well, we've spent the last 2 years thinking on the project, planning the project out, and putting in the work, studying the demographics of the city, and really getting to know what Nashville is about. And there was nothing about Nashville, and apparently there's nothing about Nashville to Major League Baseball that says that this project won't work. Major League Baseball sees Nashville as one of the up-and-coming cities for expansion baseball. And with that being said, they've done their due diligence as well. And so if Major League Baseball sees that Nashville is a place that baseball can be in the community and can flourish, we certainly see it that way as well. You do have 3 other major sports franchises there, but with the growth of the city, it being an entertainment mecca, we feel that baseball, you're already supporting a minor league baseball team, and you're doing very well with that baseball team. And so at the major league level and with the surrounding areas, we believe that Major League Baseball will fit and do very well in Nashville.
There you go. That's Dave Stewart. He is now the head. What was the title they gave him, this group? They gave him some new title. This is ESPN. Howard Bryant wrote an article, and the headline is Group Led by Dave Stewart Preparing Bid for a Potential MLB Expansion Team in Nashville. Now, you heard that clip, right? Mm-hmm. Where Dave Stewart said that they've been studying this for 2 years.
Yeah.
That was 2 years ago. So they've been studying this for 4 years. He's been with this group. And now they've appointed him to lead the Diverse Equity Ownership Initiative designed to land a big league team for baseball's next round of expansion. So Howard Bryant writes this article at ESPN.com. And immediately everybody starts texting me, are we getting a baseball team? Mm-hmm. My brother in Washington, D.C. texted me, goes, are we getting a baseball team? And so of the 7 years that I've been here, I truly believe, I need to say this once and for all. Let me look into the camera right here. And I want your thoughts on it. I want Ian's thoughts on it because I'm going to get rolling in a second. And so if you guys want to say something before I suck up all the oxygen here, I just want people to know this. In the 7 years that I've been on the radio, since April of 2015, this is, without a doubt. By the way, yesterday was my 7-year anniversary.
Happy birthday or happy anniversary.
This is, without a doubt, the stupidest story in all of Nashville. Of all the sports stuff that's happened in the last 7 years, this is the stupidest thing because it won't go away. So this Major League to Nashville group that's led by some guy named John Lohr, who I've never met. This guy has been selling people on an idea of a team. And it's like Ian, what would you say? 4 months, 3 months, 5 months?
That
we get a new
every 3 months, maybe once a quarter, something like that.
We get a new story with a new headline, and there's always some freaking guy out there who's going to write it. And I don't know why. It makes no sense to me. This is an organization that has told people, we're going to bring Major League Baseball to Nashville. With what team? Well, we're going to get an expansion team. With what owner?
And what money?
Well, we're going to have my minority ownership. We're going to be the first baseball team to ever do that. Who? Well, we've got Dave Stewart in charge of that. To do what? Throw fastballs 30 years ago? What? It doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense. Like, what owner? If you told me, like, yeah, we got a group together. Oprah, Denzel Washington, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods. We got a group together that has got the money, and Oprah will come on the show tomorrow at 5 o'clock, and we'll bring Oprah into my house, and we can sit on the couch, and we can talk about it Oprah style. And trust me, I will grill Oprah if she's part of this.
I fully believe it.
But if Oprah's a part of it, at least there's an answer. Instead, they just put out like a logo, like, hey, this is our team, a rendering of a stadium. Hey, here's a stadium with money we don't have, land we don't own. Like, here's a stadium. Last week, they decided they had a plan. They had plans to have their ballpark across the street from Nissan Stadium. Well, those are gone now because the whole East Bank development, everything else. So now they've said, well, we're going to have to look somewhere else in the city. No crap. It is bull crap. This group, they don't do anything. And yet every freaking quarter, there is somebody out there who is going to write about this. It drives me freaking insane. We are about to pay, between the state and the city, $1.2 billion for a football stadium in Metro Nashville. And we want to talk about baseball? And then people are like, no, because this group tells people, it'll be totally privately funded, this stadium. Who's funding it? Who owns it? How much money do they have? Is that in the Howard Bryant article? This Howard Bryant, who's been doing sports for longer than I've been alive, this guy who writes this article at ESPN that gets everybody worked up, like, is there anything in here that says, hey, here's the plan for the fact that they don't have any money? Here's the plan. There's no plan. It's nothing. I don't even know why they do it. Like, I don't know, like, what the point of this group is. Like, do they make money
get an
themselves?
MLB team here.
No, that is not the point, because that's not how you get teams. Like, that's
their prerogative. Does it make sense? No.
None of it makes sense. None of it. It would be like, it's like LeVar Ball's shoe line. It's
Big Baller Brand.
Bull crap.
Well, that's real.
It was real for a second, but then they didn't sell any shoe. Like, you buy shoes and you never get them. Like, that's what this is.
It's a fire festival.
This is what, yes, it's fake. It's fake. And it's one thing, like, the Tennessean, and I like the Tennessean fine. I'm not midday 180. I'm not going to go off on the Tennessean, although I do like those guys. But they've had, like, beef with the Tennessean for years. And I don't have the same beef with the Tennessean they have. But for, like, 3 years, the Tennessean would write an article, like, once every 3 months about this, and it'd be all, what, did you see the renderings in the Tennessean? Like, and I was like, oh, God. Like, you could go to art school and say, hey, draw a baseball stadium. Here's our renderings. So that bothered me. But now it's making its way to ESPN. And if you just Google search MLB Nashville, and again, that interview from that clip that we just played was 2 years ago that we had Dave Stewart on the show. 2 whole years ago that we had him on the show. So he's been working for this group. At the time, it was him, Tony La Russa and Dave Dombrowski, they were all the faces of this group. And then they had like this some guy who used to be attorney general and some other people. I don't know. And so then this fake group, they had Dave Stewart, and he came on our show, and Dombrowski won the midday show, and they're talking about why Nashville would be good for baseball and all that stuff that, again, constantly gets me worked up. And then Dombrowski left to go be general manager of the Phillies. La Russa went to go be general manager of the White Sox. These guys are just collecting a check. It's like between jobs, It's like I'll go down to Nashville, and they'll probably pay me like $30,000, $40,000 to do radio interviews to make up something that's not real. But here you go. Again, that interview with Dave Stewart was 2 years ago. 2 years ago. If you put MLB to Nashville in on Google, you get Sports Illustrated. Former All-Star pitcher Dave Stewart seeks to bring MLB expansion team to Nashville. Bleacher Report, Dave Stewart leading Nashville group prioritizing MLB ownership for people of color. New York Post, AIDS legend Dave Stewart fronting Nashville MLB expansion bid. ESPN group led by Dave Stewart preparing bid for potential MLB expansion team in Nashville. That's like it's new. It's like it's new news that Dave Stewart, who was on our show 2 years ago talking about all this, is now talking about it now.
Well, he has a title now.
Yeah, he didn't have the same title, but he was doing the same thing.
Well, the new shiny title is newsworthy, apparently.
There's nothing about this that's real. And finally, the Howard Bryant article in ESPN really freaking got me.
Well, I think the whole thing is they just want to be in the headlines. Does it matter that it's realistic? Not necessarily. People are talking about it.
I mean, you're right, but it's so stupid.
I mean,
hey, they just want to be in the headlines.
Yeah.
Why? Why do they want to be in headlines?
Because who doesn't want to be relevant?
Oh, God.
Because we're talking about it right now.
Right, because, oh, God.
So we are part of the problem.
No. We are the firefighters here. We're trying to put out this forest fire of nothing right now. And we got one engine and one hose and 3 firefighters. And that's all we got right now. Because everybody else is running with
against a forest fire.
Against a forest fire of optimism that's something that has no actual, there's
Imagination
no plan.
Island.
There's, yes, Imagination Island, where Nashville can just buy all these sports teams and it doesn't matter. Where who's going to own the team? Don't know. Doesn't matter.
Don't let specifics get in the way of a good story.
Where are you going to build the stadium?
Doesn't matter.
Don't know.
Doesn't matter.
It's like, what the God. Oh, my God. This one, you talk about, there are things that get me. This one, this one's getting me. This one's got me.
I can tell.
This one's got me.
I can tell. Of all things, this is the most worked up you've been in a minute.
Because it's 7 years of this.
How long do you think it'll be drawn out? Forever?
I don't know.
It just doesn't sound realistic.
All right, let's continue on the other side. Let's just go to your phones on the other side, because I see your phones lined up. You got AJ phones, you got baseball phones. This is all phones. 615-737-1025. Ian, what were you saying? Oh, okay, I thought Ian said something in my ear. That's okay. Let's give away real, actual baseball tickets. Can we do that?
These are not Imagination
Island
tickets?
Real. This is a real team.
Good.
That plays real games.
Here?
Yes.
Wow.
Now, their players could stand to lose a little weight.
We're not going back to that.
But, B-Caller, I want to get to your phones. Crushed on this. How do I do this without blowing out the phone lines? We'll give away Sounds tickets on the other side. 615-737-1025. Don't win them now. We'll give them away on the other side. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game.
The voice of reason.
If I'm the official, I would send both teams to the locker room and say, this is going to stop.
The voice of the fan.
Our entire team's a mass unit right now.
The voice of Nashville sports is your home of Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Bill Burr, Slight Return.
If I've learned anything in 5 years of being married is we're always working on me.
From his Netflix specials and F is for Family, Bill Burr, Slight Return. Friday, April 22nd, Bridgestone Arena.
Evidently, my wife is this completed work under museum glass that is to be admired and studied. And I'm like one of these guys, you know those buildings that just has scaffolding around it for like 6 straight years?
Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Bill Burr live.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy
Family Leisure invites you to vacation at home with your family with a new spa, pool, patio furniture, or wood play gym this summer.
I really want a spa.
Family Leisure has 40 spas on display from 3 of the biggest brand names: Artesian, Best Spas, and American Select. Prices starting as low as $29.99.
What about above ground pools?
Family Leisure has hundreds of pools in stock and on sale. Guaranteed installation before Memorial Day, starting as low as $29.99. Installed.
Wow, that's great.
If you're looking at a spa, I want some new patio furniture. Family Leisure has patio furniture from all the big brand names like Hannemint, Woodard, Jensen, and Apricity. There's more than 100 sets on display to choose from with free delivery.
That sounds good to me too. And maybe a new Sabre infrared grill to go with it.
We really should look at the wood play gym for the kids. Family Leisure has the Diamond Point swing set on sale at only $24.99 installed. It's Family Leisure's Vacation at Home sale going on now at both huge locations, Franklin and Antioch.
Winter's a bad time for your furnace to go out, but it's never a bad time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Step up to the plate with Days Date. As one of the only Delta 8 brands that is truly single-sourced, quality and consistency is our guarantee. We are local and aim to provide the purest product while educating the consumer every step of the way. Stock up with Days next time at your local smoke shop. Visit us on Instagram at days.d8.official to learn more about our wide array of products and special offers. To browse our product line, visit dazed8.com, DAZED, number 8.com, the highest quality standard of Delta 8.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Good morning!
Robby and Rexrode mornings from 6 to 10.
It's not bad. Might have to work on that. It's not bad. It's a starting point.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell media station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Live thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. I do owe an apology. I wanted to give away those Sounds tickets, and then I realized if I did, it would blow out the phone lines, and I didn't want to blow out the phone lines because I want to get to your wonderful phone calls. And apparently there's a lot of people that called in. They were ready to jump in to get Sounds tickets, and then I didn't give them away, and Ian had to tell all of them that I, am going to wait to give them away in this segment. And apparently you're saying that the text line's mad too?
Yes, Donovan calls you fake news.
Okay. So here we are. I just want to set the scene. Here we are, the middle of April, 1 week from the NFL draft. The Tennessee Titans had a press conference today. A.J. Brown, the best player on the team, maybe, might be on the trade block, might not be, who knows, whatever. There's that.
Yep.
The Predators are trying to make the playoffs. They got a 97% chance of doing it. We're the flagship station of the Predators. The soccer team plays some games on Univision. So we got all that to talk about.
Which is good for them.
Oh, good for them. So we got all that to talk about. What are we talking about today?
Baseball.
The fake non-baseball team that ESPN writes a story about. And we have an update. And this comes from our friend Chad Withrow. So they had Dave Stewart in studio today on Outkick 360. I'm sure it was the same bunch of nothing, in terms of what he actually said about how they're going to get a team to come here. I'm sure it was the same bunch of nothing that he gave us 2 years ago, but that's okay. And so another one of our friends, Josh Ennis, good guy. Josh Ennis, well, yeah, something. He tweeted Chad and said, non-trolling question here, who are the investors in his group?
Fair question.
Chad quote tweeted and said, that's exactly the question I asked. He didn't have much of an answer. So there's no chance this is legit until a billionaire jumps on board. Similar to Nashville SC before John Ingram jumped on board and made MLS a reality. So
But that's the thing is like they don't want the specifics to get in the way of like a really exciting story. MLB to Nashville.
But
where's
fake.
the stadium? Who's investing in the team? Where's the money come from? It doesn't matter.
But we got team hats.
Baseball.
We got team hats.
That is true. I
Team
do love
hats.
a good hat.
Team hats.
What
All
else
right,
are you gonna do
phones.
on a bad hair day?
Titans, Preds, this, phones, 615-737-1025. By the way, Caroline said that she's never seen the vein in my forehead so pronounced as I was in the last segment. I did not even know that I had a vein in my forehead.
I mean, we've gone through some pretty bad, filthy Titans games. Biggest vein I've ever seen.
Oh, I told you. The worst Titans loss of the last 7 years, I can't remember what it was, probably at Thursday Nighter at Jacksonville when the offensive line didn't sprint to the huddle and no huddle, or didn't sprint to the line of scrimmage, in the 2-minute drill. That might have been up there. There have been some bad ones. Christmas suits at Jacksonville were pretty bad. Just a lot of things that were bad. Nothing makes me more mad than this story and how it just keeps coming up and up and up. Phone lines driven by WillScottieHunter.com. Ellie, go ahead. You've been waiting patiently. What's up, Ellie?
Yeah, let's be realistic. Baseball, Nationals, we're just too cool for Major League Baseball. I mean, it's more like a Memphis sort of thing. Major League Baseball should go to Memphis. Leave us alone already. So we have better things to do.
Here's my thing, and I appreciate your call, Ellie. The prospect of having baseball in Nashville, in the Nashville area, I think could be a very realistic possibility.
The idea of baseball in Nashville is great.
But again, every time I say this, people laugh because they think that they must think I'm an idiot, honestly. Remember last year when I brought up the idea of building in Rutherford County?
Yes.
That if you were going to get a baseball team, it's got to
Go
be
to
Rutherford County.
Murfreesboro.
And Rutherford County has to pay for it, and you build an entertainment district, and it'll get people to come to Murfreesboro all the time to watch the stuff. And everybody was like, ha ha, Murfreesboro! And yet the fake group put out a couple weeks ago, because I sent it to you, when somebody wrote something that they said, which they will there's always somebody to write about this. It is amazing to me how this non-team with no owner, no stadium, no franchise, no nothing, except for hats and these really weird baseball bats that they gave the station 5 years ago, how these people can get anybody to write about them. But again, they said that, oh, no, now we're looking at other locations, including Rutherford County. And I sent it to you, and I was like, Rutherford County, that's the way to make it work. But nobody ever wants to talk about solutions to the problem. They just want to talk about minority ownership. Yes.
Well, it's more fun to talk about what the stadium is going to look like and where it's going to be and, where are the cool bars and restaurants around the stadium. It's more fun to talk about those kinds of things than it is to talk about, okay, what's a plot of land that's a realistic space for a stadium? Who is going to be investing billions of dollars into this franchise and into this stadium? Those are very not fun things to talk about. It's more fun to talk about, woohoo, logos, jerseys, woohoo. So why, and that's what gets people to buy in is the idea of baseball, the thought of baseball, not the nitty-gritty details of how do we get baseball here?
By the way, I'm going to have the same rant every time that somebody writes something about this. I'm just going to go off the handle. I just can't take it anymore. What else?
Look forward to
What
it.
do we have in our text line?
Ben texts into the text line and says, we're more likely to get a team here than if we had no group. The buzz helps show that there's interest, if nothing else.
What does that mean?
But to be completely honest,
we didn't have a group when we got the Titans.
There's going to be interest no matter what. It's a professional sports team in a growing city.
We didn't have there was no buzz. Phil Bredesen got Bud Adams into an executive or an exclusive negotiating window, and it worked. Memphis, one of the reasons Memphis hates us, and there's a lot of reasons, and the number one reason is because we're better than them. But the second reason
you just hate Memphis.
That Memphis, everybody knows we're better than Memphis.
Well, yeah.
Everybody knows that. The second reason, though, that Memphis, the second reason is they thought they were on the short list for NFL teams, and then we just jumped them. But that was good negotiating. That was real. That was, here's an owner, here's land, here's a stadium deal. Boom. I'd rather talk about the USFL, which, by the way, I watched a little bit on TV this weekend, and I think it's boring as hell. I thought Pat McAfee compared it to the Hall of Fame game. I think that is a very accurate comparison.
I did enjoy watching Shea Patterson be very bad at football.
Oh, him and Jeff Fisher.
So
a match
bad.
made and just
So
crap.
bad.
What else we got?
one texter texts in and says, only shot from Murfreesboro is Northwest Murfreesboro off of 840. Have you ever tried to drive in Murfreesboro?
Okay, I'm not getting into Murfreesboro talk today. That's too much for me.
I haven't driven much in Murfreesboro, but I can guarantee you it's probably a lot easier than in downtown Nashville. One texter texts in and says, what is the problem with majority-minority ownership?
What is the problem with it?
Mm-hmm.
Who is it?
But the idea of it.
Of a majority of a minority owning the team.
Yes.
Who is that person?
I don't know.
That's my problem with it.
I just read the text.
I do not care if the owner of the Nashville MLB team, I do not care if they are white, black, Hispanic, Asian, Puerto Rican.
Also would be Hispanic.
That's also Hispanic. I don't care what they are. I don't care if they're man, woman, what. I don't care. I do not care. I don't care. But I do need them to exist. That's all I ask for. Like if it is a living, breathing person that has the money to buy a baseball team, now we can talk. If it is not a living, breathing person who can buy a baseball team, then I'm not interested. Make any sense?
That makes sense to me.
All right, let's give away these Sounds tickets. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Be caller 5. And you're going to the Sounds, 615-737-1025. That is real baseball. A family 4-pack of tickets to see the Sounds take on the Charlotte Knights at First Horizon Park this Sunday. And don't forget about Sounds Baseball because they actually have real games. And Sounds Baseball is ESPN 94.9 tonight. The Sounds take on the Charlotte Knights at First Horizon Park. Pregame at 6:20, first pitch 6:35. Sounds Baseball on ESPN 94.9 is presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans, 312 Pizza Company, and Spirited Hive.
Here they come, turn 4.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe. Join me for Chasing Checkers every Sunday morning at 8 as we talk all the big stories in NASCAR, IndyCar, and the motor racing world. We'll also talk to some of the big names in the sport. It's Chasing Checkers, presented by Apple Collision Centers and the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway on ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Jamie Johnson, live in concert.
The high cost of living ain't nothing like the cost of living.
August 25th, First Bank Amphitheater.
You should have seen it in color.
With special guest Blackberry Smoke.
You could say I was lonesome.
And Megan Maroney. Jamie Johnson live. On sale this Friday, 10 a.m. Part of the Farm Bureau Insurance Concert Series. Buy tickets at livenation.com.
The racing, the big one, the camping. It's all just bigger at Talladega. And with a doubleheader on Saturday and the premiere of the next-gen cars on Sunday, it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. NASCAR's biggest and baddest track is back. The Talladega NASCAR Weekend, April 23rd through the 24th. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
Sounds Baseball is back. Catch the action at First Horizon Park tonight at 6:35 as the Nashville Sounds take on the Charlotte Knights. Throwback Thursday returns as the Sounds wear their classic 1978 throwback uniforms, plus $2 and $3 drink specials throughout the park. For tickets, visit NashvilleSounds.com.
Don't hunt for savings this Easter. Electronic Express has the best deals of the season. Enjoy the spring weather with brands like Yeti, Traeger, Charbroil, and more. We've also got huge savings in every department. Computers and gaming, smart home, housewares, mattresses, and more. Plus, save up to 40% on all appliances with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online with free express delivery on most items. Shop spring savings at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Listen to Stillman & Company with me, Caroline Fenton, all season long on ESPN 102.5 The Game for your chance to win Nashville Sounds tickets courtesy of 312 Pizza Company in Germantown.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good, really good. Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless, now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Circle up, team. We've got status.
Evelyn's marketing consultancy client roster is skyrocketing.
Okay, so this week is a biggie. We've got the pitch and 3 client meetings.
She needs another analyst before her team's free time plummets.
Who's running the competitive analysis on fruit snacks?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Always been clear at this time of year that voluntary is voluntary. How much more at ease are you with guys who aren't here that they know what's expected of them when they do show up?
It's the same every year. I'm going to say that every head coach in the National Football League would like to have every single player there just because that's what we like to do. We like coaching players and enjoy doing that. Also very respectful of what they've done, where they're doing it, and hopefully as we work our way into these different phases that we'll get as many guys that want to come back that want to be here.
There you go. That was Vrabel when asked about voluntary workouts. And you heard right there, very harmless answer, right? Where Vrabel said, every coach in the National Football League wants to coach because that's what we do as coach. But, we hope that more guys will show, whatever. I don't think Mike Vrabel's very happy. And obviously Vrabel was well prepared for that question. I was expecting. Vrabel used to be a union guy when he played. And Vrabel is very aware of how the Players Association reacts to certain things. One time at training camp, one of the assistant coaches was talking with a player on the field after practice about a technique or something, and he was doing it. And Vrabel, yelled at the assistant coach and was like, hey, got to stop it because I don't want to hear about it from the union. And so Vrabel used to be a union guy. He's very aware of the union. And normally the way you shut that down is you talk about how we as coaches – everything's voluntary, and we're just trying to get better every day. But he didn't say that. He talked about expecting guys to come in more often. And so I heard that, and when it wasn't the answer I was expecting, I was like, that was odd. Then, props to Joe. Props to Joe, who I think asked this question because I was there. Asked the question about Tannehill not being at voluntary workouts. Here's what Joe said to Vrabel.
More important, Mike, for Ryan Tannehill to be here? Actually, for both of you, that question. Is he missing anything of real value here, not being here right now?
I've had communications with Ryan. Again, as the head coach, I want every single player here. I would love to see that happen. Had communications with Ryan, and I'm comfortable where those are at, and expect him back here pretty shortly.
Said he's comfortable with it. Didn't say he's happy with it. I think he chose his
expect him
words.
back pretty quickly, which means, Ryan, get your ass back here.
I believe Vrabel is pissed. Now, I don't think Vrabel's just mad at Tannehill, though it is easiest to be mad at Tannehill, and Tannehill is the one that I think we're all the most mad at. And I think they're probably mad for the same reasons that we're mad about Tannehill not being there, because he's the quarterback, and because he screwed up the end of the game, and because they got a new passing game coordinator, and because, dude, read the room, get here.
Mm-hmm.
But the way he said that of, I've had discussions with Ryan, I've had communications with Ryan, and as a coach, I want everybody to be here. I put those two together. I've talked to Ryan, and I've let Ryan know I want everybody here. And so I think Vrabel, if you were to say, okay, what's Vrabel mad about? I think Vrabel's mad about the star players all not being here, about Simmons not being here, Henry not being here, Tannehill not being here. AJ, I think he understands.
Yeah.
That's a
different
contract.
situation.
That's a whatever. But I think Vrabel's pissed. And I think it's looking at the team leaders saying, guys, you're our leaders. Henry, Lewan, Byard, Tannehill, Simmons, AJ, yes, but again, special situation. David Long, you're our leaders. And if you're not there, what's that say to all the other running backs, Derek?
But don't you think that all starts with Tannehill?
Well, yeah, but I think if he had to say, okay, Who's Vrabel the most mad at? He's probably the most mad at Tannehill. But I'm telling you, I think Vrabel is more mad in general about the whole group not being there, about where's my leaders? I got Caleb Farley. He talked about Caleb Farley today and was talking about how Caleb Farley won an award today or won the quiz prize or whatever.
Which is good for him.
But if you want Jeffrey Simmons there with Caleb Farley.
Mm-hmm.
And I really believe that, I think Vrabel, I think Vrabel's not happy with this. And I think the other thing, too, is, and this is a big deal in the NFL, and this can really rupture locker rooms, and I think it's why Tom Brady's not a Patriot. Well, I think the money is number one, and then I think this is number two. There's a lot of these guys that would rather train with their guy than train with the team's guy. And while their guy might be better than the team's guy, and while their guy might know their body better or be able to pay more attention to their time, there is something about the team's guy that the team trusts. One time I heard Floyd tell Chase that it was asked a question about, I think it was Clowney, and how Clowney was clearly out of shape when he signed right before the start of the season, even though he and his trainer had promised he'd been training every day, and he was in shape. And Floyd said, when you have a trainer, that trainer's job is not to train you to be able to play elite football. That trainer's job is to find a way to get you to keep paying that trainer. And most people don't like being yelled at. They don't like being body shamed. They don't like someone getting in their crap about, did you really have those drinks last night? Did you not have them? Did you? Mm-hmm. They really don't like that. Tim Grover can do that because Tim Grover got started with Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. So when you have those guys, you can look at somebody and say, I don't need you.
It's the same kind of thing with the agent. When your agent doesn't tell you what you want to hear, you fire him and you
fire
get
the
another
agent.
one.
Unless you got a good agent who's telling you, like, dude, you need to listen to me.
Uh-huh.
And so, but I think a lot of these players like their people and their system. And it's like, my training tells me that I need to be doing this. And, like, I'm not going to call out Derrick Henry's training because Derrick Henry seems to always be in shape. But, like as soon as Derrick gets there for training camp, they're on a certain schedule that the team makes up. And so I think this is a much bigger issue in the NFL for teams, which nobody here cares about, and I don't even really care much about myself, which is how much of it is the team versus, the team's guys versus the players, individual trainers and their own programs and everything else. And I think, too, how much of it is, what example are you all setting by not being here? Bayard's here, Ben Jones is here. What kind of example is that for Des Fitzpatrick? What kind of example is that for Rashad Weaver? What kind of example is that when all the guys are not there? And yet Vrabel is absolutely handcuffed because he can't say anything because it's all technically voluntary work. And that's what you negotiate in a collective bargaining agreement. But it's just me. Ian, if we can get the two clips again, the one where he was talking about voluntary workouts, I was expecting voluntary workouts are voluntary, and that's how we have to, from Vrabel, and I'm not sure that's what we got. Here's what Vrabel said.
It's the same every year. I'm going to say that every head coach in the National Football League would like to have every single player there just because that's what we like to do. We like coaching players and enjoy doing that. Also very respectful of what they've done, where they're doing it. And hopefully, as we work our way, into these different phases, that we'll get, as many guys that want to come back that want to be here.
My sense is he knows exactly where that line with the PA is, and he walked right up to it.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get some guys back here. That's a guy.
But that is a get back
Come
here.
Come on. Like that. That's how I think Vrabel's furious about this.
And I don't necessarily blame him.
Well, what episode was he on of the Tom Brady show? He was the one where they talked about getting the edge, the Tom Brady documentary. And it was all like, one of my favorite lines from that is when Brady said, the way that we ran was the coaches didn't hold you accountable.
We held each other accountable.
And the fans didn't hold you accountable, but your teammates held you accountable.
Like, oh, you've been in here since 7 a.m.? I've been here since 6. Oh, you got an hour of work this morning? I got 2.5. Yeah.
I'm getting the edge on you.
And it's the healthy competition that's created together within the locker room, because Mike Vrabel can tell them all day long, I want you here, but he said, I want guys that want to be here. And clearly they show they don't want to be here.
See, here's the thing, though. I'm not sure Vrabel's disappointment. Surely Tannehill's number one on the list as far as, like, who would you be the most mad at? I don't think Vrabel is, like, squarely mad at Tannehill, though. I think he's mad at the whole group.
But I think that he can look at Tannehill and say, you're the quarterback. You know? Like,
well, you can't say that because the union will be...
I know that he can't say that, but he has every right to think that. Like, you are the quarterback. You are the leader of this ship. Whenever you do something, people follow suit. Whenever the leader goes, you say, okay, I got to go too. If they don't go, then you say, okay, well, then what's the point of me going? Because they're not going.
So what do you make of the fact...
He's the quarterback.
But what do you make of the fact that, like, we don't care that Derrick Henry's not there?
Right.
But
Vrabel does.
He does.
Vrabel does. I mean, I think for me it was really just the Tannehill thing because Derrick Henry is going to show up and he's going to be in shape, most likely we can expect.
Like, my thing with Tannehill is, like, dude, know your place.
It's the fact that you have trust and respect to earn back. That, like, you should be wanting to show up and to make nice of everything that you didn't, every wrong that you did over the offseason. You should have been just chomping at the bit to come back and make things right. And don't you think that your very first opportunity to do that, you'd be doing it? You'd think.
Add that to the list. To your phones next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Pro Golf is coming to Nashville this May with the Simmons Bank Open. Text the keyword golf now to 615-737-1025 for your chance to win a weekend pass for 4 to enjoy the event in style, including food and drink, plus a Predators gift pack, including polo shirt, golf balls, and umbrella. Text golf now to 615-737-1025 to enter to win.
Hey, I'm Ryan Johansson, and this is Smashville.
Back to Johansson, and Johansson tips it in with one hand on the stick.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Pro Golf is back in Middle Tennessee. Mark your calendars for the Simmons Bank Open, May 5th through 8th. You can see the next wave of PGA Tour stars. Be sure to visit the Sand Trap at the 14th hole and check out great local food trucks, including Hattie B's, Hogwood Barbecue, Dream Burger, Padrino Pops, cocktails from Jack Daniels, and try the Sand Trap Cream Ale from New Heights Brewing Company. Purchase your tickets now at SimmonsBankOpen.com.
Willie Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Proud to announce that they have won the Top Gun Award for the best Pella sales organization in the U.S. They have the best culture, best customer satisfaction, and best growth in the business. To celebrate, Pella is offering their amazingly affordable products at 0% financing with no payments for 12 months. Do you need new doors or windows? I suggest you shop with Nashville's Pella experts at Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Go to PellaofNashville.com.
Hey, it's Mike from Newton Nissan. It's springtime, and I'm going on a limb here. I'm just going to say it. You either love Peeps or you're wrong. I hope you've heard our commercials before. My hope is that you have learned that we are a quality company that prides itself on customer service, and that we like to laugh and joke a bit too. We're different than other dealerships. We don't have hidden fees. The price you see on the site is a price you pay in the dealership. We value you as a customer. We're aware that buying a car often has a stigma attached. Our goal is to overcome that bad stigma, not with flashy commercials or unrealistic giveaways, but with an honest, transparent car buying experience. We want you to come back, and we want you to tell your friends. We do that by giving you great customer service. We want to make your car buying experience fast, easy, and mostly online to save you time. That's why we have Newton FastPass. You can work your deal and numbers online and work the deal to fit your budget. Sounds easy, right? Hop to it and visit newtonnissan.com to start your deal. See website for details. Check the deets, peeps.
Where are those receipts?
Tax day is nearly here,
I held on to those.
and Chanel is stressing.
Why do I always wait to the last minute?
Her small business needs a bookkeeper to crunch some big numbers.
All these spreadsheets make my head spin. None of this adds up.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Nashville Sounds baseball season is underway, and if you haven't been to Third and Home on game day, you're missing out. Third and Home is the newest sports bar in Germantown that overlooks the Nashville Sounds ballpark. From the bar's spacious beer patio, you can literally see the whole Sounds game as if you were sitting in the seats with a ticket. No wonder it's known as Germantown's bar with a ballpark. Head to 3rd Avenue North and check it out for lunch, a night of brews, or to catch a game. Third and Home is open Tuesday through Sunday, and you can even watch batting practice on the patio. For more, visit thirdandhome.com.
The Sounds play ball.
Tyler White to the berm in left center for a 2-run homer.
The Nashville Sounds continue their homestand at First Horizon Park against the Charlotte Knights.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sounds win.
Coverage begins at 6:20 on your home for the Sounds.
ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is John Hines, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Jared, I absolutely hate it. I hate it. Matter of fact, I despise it and I detest it. The reason is not because he needs this workout right now. It's voluntary, and it's mostly strength and conditioning. As a matter of fact, the position coaches and coordinators can't even be on the field with them, just strength coaches. So this is not a matter of going out and getting, accustomed to his new receiver, Robert Woods or Austin Hooper. Woods actually is still recovering from his ACL. So really it's not a matter of on-the-field work with his teammates. And so you would think on the surface that he lives in Florida, he could stay there, he could spend more time with his family, he can work out there, okay. But that to me is so utterly tone-deaf as to be largely stupid.
There you go. Trevor Maddox just bringing the heat on Tannehill not going to voluntary workout.
Largely stupid.
I was stunned that Vrabel didn't just give you the PC. These are all voluntary, and so we, trust our team and everything
Because I think it was a message.
Yeah, oh, no, there's no doubt in my mind when I heard it, I'm like, Vrabel's mad.
Uh-huh.
And, well, let's just go around the room. Do you think Vrabel's mad?
Yes.
Ian, do you think Vrabel's mad?
I think mostly he's mad or perturbed that they're not there. Now he has to answer questions about it more than them maybe not being there, almost.
That is true.
Oh, I don't know. I think it's the football guy in him. I mean, think about it. Trevor is like a football guy through and through. Yeah. Played in the league, first-round draft choice, loves the smell of the grass. He's furious about Tannehill not being there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think I think Vrabel would definitely like all the players there, and part of them's like, see, now I got to answer these questions about why my players aren't showing up.
So you know what's funny?
I think it's a cherry on top of all of it.
You know when Brady stopped doing like a lot of the offseason stuff, and then Belichick had to be like, dude, I know it's voluntary, but
I need you to come back.
Was like right when he built this house in L.A., and so he spent a lot of time out there, and he had married Giselle, and now he had kids, and so they spent some time out in California, so he wasn't always after Vrabel, Bruschi, McGinnis, Troy Brown, the old Patriots of the first after they left, when it was really his team. It was his team, but it was his team with Rodney Harrison, with Troy Brown, with Mike Vrabel, with Willie McGinnis, with Teddy Bruschi, with Ty Law, with Lawyer Malloy. Like, it was all them together. And Adam Vinatieri, and now they're all gone. And so now it's like him and Vince Wilfork. And everybody else was new. Welker, everybody else was new. And that's when Bill was like, dude, can you come back? We need you around the guys. We need you, whatever. And so the way that Vrabel was, that we're getting the edge on you, we're working harder than you, we're whatever than you. This is the opposite of that. And I think that if I'm Vrabel, I have to applaud Vrabel for how well he walked up to the line, but didn't cross
it, but got his point across.
Without
crossing that CBA line.
Yes. What do we have in the text line? Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com.
Sean texts in and says that locker room competition and accountability is what made those 2000s Titan teams get great.
So I don't know what it was like during those days. I know this. I know I asked Floyd one time, like, if Eddie George were to call you before voluntary workouts and were to say, hey, I'm not coming. I'm going to Disney World with my kids for a couple of days, so I'll be there later. Steve McNair were to call you, and he just looked at me and was like, yeah, that would never happen. That would never happen. And so I do think, the Boohoo Tannehill crew really latched onto the, Well, what could he do? What could he do at these OTAs? He can't throw with the coach. He can't. It's lifting and classroom and throwing on the field, which he could do on his own, and he can't have a defense. And to me, that's all kind of secondary. But I do think that, like, once you start getting on the field, if Tannehill's not there, that's a real big problem.
It's really just the principle of it all.
Yeah, it's the principle of the fact that, like, the season's starting. Like, it's time for you to get to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think that it's difficult in the NFL. I don't think that
what isn't difficult?
I do not think that the schedule of being an NFL football player is difficult. Now, if you want to be a really good football player, if you want to be Tom Brady or Peyton Manning to where you can memorize everything, like, you have to work a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But you also are compensated for that, and your life is elevated because of that. But for the average NFL player, how much time do you get off of work? You work August.
5 months.
August, September, October, November, December. You work for 5 months out of the year.
And if you're lucky, you get 7.
And if you're lucky, really 6 because
6.5.
It's just January. So that's 6. So then what? There's a couple of weeks in April. There's a couple of weeks in May. And there's 1 week in June.
You're looking at like 6 months.
And then you get 6 weeks off. And then you show up. And every player will tell me that, we got to train during the off season and every day is, and I get that. You're not allowed to eat foods that taste good. I understand. That is tough.
There are different, sacrifices you have to make.
But it's not an overly time-taxing job. When I hear football players talk about spending time with their family, if you don't play quarterback, I don't care about that. And I really don't care about that if you play quarterback. Because how much time are
Why
you
does
away?
the position matter?
Because quarterback has to know everything on every play.
Okay.
Quarterback has to know what every position is supposed to do, what the offensive line is supposed to do, what the wide receivers are supposed to do. They're supposed to know what the defense is supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Supposed to know how to audible. Quarterback's hard. But every other position, it's like, dude, your travel in football is 1 day. Like, oh, yeah, we went to Phoenix on Saturday. We played on Sunday. We came home Sunday night. Great. It's not baseball where it's like, we're gone for 13 days. And so.
But I'm not going to tell them how much time they're allowed to spend with their families or do whatever they want to do in their own time. But also, like, do what you want to do on your own time. Spend time with your family, your girlfriend, your fiance, whatever it is.
But don't cry to me about how
but
you don't have enough
But
time.
you also have things that you have to do. Like, you can spend whatever time you want with your family, but come April 18th, 19th, 20th, whatever it is, you have things that you have to do. You have a to-do list starting those days. So prioritize those things.
What's next?
Another texter checks in about A.J. Brown. Says, if someone wants to give the Titans a first for A.J., then I'm cool with it. Draft 2 receivers, one being Jameson Williams, re-sign Dennis Kelly, and let's go.
Okay, hold on. So I heard this today because TD said that the A.J. Brown trade for him would be essentially a first, second, and third.
Mm-hmm.
That would be what he would do it for. That is a lot better than a first. I saw people on Twitter yesterday talking about, like, their team, and they were like, would you trade the 20th pick overall for Deebo Samuel? I'm like, you think Deebo Samuel is worth 1 first-round draft choice? Like, that's what Deebo Samuel on a rookie contract is worth? Hell no. Like, you got to trade way more than that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even TD's package for AJ, a first, second, and third. I don't know if that's enough. I mean, I'm not moving off of a guy who's might be the most valuable player to my team at $4 million this season, and he has to play. There is no way around playing for AJ. Like, there is no way of, he's going to hold out. You can't hold out anymore. You cannot do it. The CBA is so stacked against a player like that holding out. So I've got $4 million in my most important offensive player, which I know the Midday Show guys disagree, but I think A.J. Brown is more important than Derrick Henry. When Derrick was out of the lineup, you did win games. When A.J. was out of the lineup, you won 1 game, you beat Jacksonville. Every other game A.J. was out, you lost. And you lost because your team sucked, like the Steelers, the Jets, like the painful drag your eyeballs out of watching the offense play kind of games. So he is that important. But a first, second, and third, like, I almost feel like I need a little bit more than that. But just a first? Like, that texture's like, just a first? Or like, Deebo Samuel for just a first? Like, no. You don't get Deebo Samuel for 1 first-round draft choice.
On a rookie contract.
Yeah, you do not get Deebo Samuel for that. I do wonder. Like, AJ's good.
Oh, yeah.
Like, AJ Brown is good. I do wonder how much of Deebo's success. Like, I'm torn on Deebo. And not torn on Deebo the player or saying who he's better than or what he's better than. I'm torn on, is Deebo a part of Kyle Shanahan's, that his guru-ness that turned Matt Ryan into the league MVP? Is Deebo a product of that? Like Jonnu was a product of Arthur Smith? Or is Deebo the wrecking ball that carried the 49ers to the NFC Championship game? Because I watched 7 Jimmy Garoppolo games, and Jimmy stunk. Jimmy stunk. And I think Jimmy stinks. And they played the Titans this year, and Jimmy totally gave that game away. Now, you'll remember they had to make a field goal at the end in order to win it because San Francisco tied the game in the fourth quarter. San Francisco got the ball with like 3 minutes left. They threw one pass over the middle to Deebo, and he ran it to like the Tennessee 7. So was that, great coaching by Shanahan to get Deebo wide open, and then Deebo ran it all the way to the 7? Or is Deebo that good that you have no team if you don't have Deebo Samuel?
I mean, Deebo was a bad man in college.
But he never carried South Carolina, like, above South Carolina, which is not necessarily his fault. Jeffrey Simmons didn't carry Mississippi State to the SEC championship. But
at what point is that the fault of South Carolina?
To me, I'm not having an opinion on this. I'm just saying I wonder in my head, is it Shanahan or is it Deebo? I think it's Deebo. I mean, I think Deebo's pretty good. I would not, if I was San Francisco, you offer me a first-round pick, I'd hang up the phone. I do too. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. D-Mace got us rolling with a take on A.J. Brown. And I find it to be fascinating. We'll get to that next. Stillman & Company, it's ESPN 1025 The Game.
Hey, this is Andrew Allegretta, voice of the Vandy Boys. Listen to the Commodore Hour every Monday at 6 p.m. during the baseball season. Kevin Ingram and I talk with Coach Corbin and special guests on ESPN 94.9 and streaming on the VU Commodores mobile app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bovis. Overnight tonight, mild low temperatures. Upper 50s as we head into tomorrow. We'll see the rest of our cloud cover break. Mainly sunny. A high of 83 degrees, and we'll stay in the low to middle 80s on Saturday as well.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Spring has sprung, which means it's time to renew your home with Social Furniture. It's their Spring Fling sale, where all furniture is up to 50% off. That's right, up to 50% off on top name brands such as Serta, Sealy, Simmons, Caracol, Bernhardt, and Woodhouse. At Social Furniture, you'll find new bedroom furniture, mattresses, and sofas, all up to 50% off. Spring into Social Furniture today on Charlotte Avenue in West Nashville. Shop local, shop social. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
Gary Ashton here. I love hearing people say, don't sell without the intel, because it means they're really embracing our message. Now's a great time to sell your home in Nashville, but you need the intel only the Gary Ashton team can provide. Intel that helps you sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel to win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Let everyone else get the same information and compete for the same properties, while you get the intel edge with the Gary Ashton team, the official real estate team for your Tennessee Titans. And if you're looking for a great career, join our team. We added 65 new agents last year, and we want you to join us this year. Remember, don't sell without the intel. And if you're looking for a great career, the Gary Ashton team wants you in 2022. Call 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com today.
Genesis Diamond's once-a-year spring extravaganza is here this weekend. 3 days of phenomenal savings store-wide. You save up to 35% off Genesis already guaranteed best prices. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, and more. Plus special finance. You can even trade in your old jewelry for some amazing new designs from our world-class designers who flew in just for this. Extra savings on GIA-certified diamonds, too. It's our biggest sale all year. This Friday through Sunday only. And only at Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Hey, Darren McFarland here, and I'm excited to tell you about my friends at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Spring is here. If your AC or heating unit is old and inefficient, then you need to take advantage of the Spring Hill Spring Special for a limited time only. Save up to $1,000 with Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Get a York unit that lasts with a 10-year parts and labor warranty with up to 60 months no-interest financing on all York units. Restrictions do apply. Schedule now at springhillac.com. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, a York certified comfort expert company.
Inside knowledge on the Titans.
Todd Downey's got his notepad out right now, just writing things down.
Inside knowledge on the Predators.
They can go right into the forecheck, and boom, you get a beautiful goal from Colton Sissons.
And then there's a team in Knoxville.
How excited should Tennessee fans be by what they've seen from Josh Heupel in year one?
Wake up and hang out with Robby and Rexrode. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10. Brought to you by Little Guys Movers on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and The Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
You're listening to Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
And that's been going on with the receiver market. Where do you stand right now?
Yeah, we've had some discussions with his reps. And when he was here a couple weeks ago, I talked to him, and working through that. Not going to get into any details with contract negotiations. Never have really done that, but we've made it public about how we feel about AJ and how we wanted to be a part of this football team.
There you go. That was John Robinson again saying, hey, no specifics on AJ, even though Debo's stepmom's Instagram gave us the tea. They've offered $20 million, and they know he's worth more according to Tory Dandy, the agent, according to AJ, according to Debo. But they're not going to pay him more than 20. So we know they've offered 20. We feel very confident saying they've offered $20 million.
We have enough clues to feel confident about
$20 million a year for A.J. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
So John Robinson today, I had to ask him straight up. There's no wiggle room, no any chance to trade A.J. Brown before next Thursday's draft.
Is there any chance that A.J. could be traded between now and the draft?
I think I've spoke on that several times now, so do not foresee that happening.
There you go. That's the headline.
Mm-hmm.
Do not foresee that happening. Does that put the kibosh on the A.J. rumor mill?
Not completely.
Then D. Mace, the only receiver that's as good or better than A.J. Brown in the history of the Tennessee Titans, was on our show yesterday. He'll be on Darren, Donick, and Chase tomorrow at 10 o'clock doing the whole show. He said that if they can't get a deal done soon, Titans have to start shopping A.J. around.
Both sides need to press hard for a deal to be done before Thursday. And if you can't get it done, man, this is sports. I know how much everybody loves AJ. I love him as a player, but he got to go if you can't get anything done. I mean, I don't know why everybody's scared to say, hey, he might have to be traded. It seems like everybody's tiptoeing around that because they don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. But that might happen. It happens in sports. People get traded. We didn't think that, Tyreek Hill would get traded. He got traded. There's been people, Russell Wilson, he got traded. So it's not too far-fetched to say that A.J. might get traded in this situation.
So do we think the rumors are done, or do we think, hey, we need to wait this out until Thursday, or wait this out until they get a deal? Because I've heard everything. I mean, here's everything that I've heard about A.J. I told you, I heard that the A.J. camp thought the deal was done. Like the A.J. camp 2 months ago thought a deal was done.
Mm-hmm.
So that it wasn't the Titans. So then I heard today from somebody, and I don't know how true this is. Again, this is all rumors or whatever. They heard miles apart was what they heard. And so I do wonder, where they really are on this. They just keep saying, oh, yeah, we're working to keep them. We're working to keep them. We're working to keep them. And Kaharski said that the time that the Titans usually do this stuff is in July. Well, the truth is AJ clearly wants to get paid now, so hurry it up. The way we do it is we do it in July. Well, that's not working for me. But if this doesn't get done soon, these trade rumors don't go away. The trade talk doesn't go away. AJ's Twitter doesn't go away. Like, all of those things add up. And so, I hate to break it to you, but it really feels like there's a part of me that thinks that AJ could actually get traded if the rumor that I heard that they're miles apart is true. And it just feels like both sides are not willing to compromise. If the Titans are hell-bent on $20 million a year, and now the average of the top 5 receivers is more than that, then the Titans are going to have to pay more because the franchise tag is going to be way more anyways. So they're going to have to compromise and pay more than $20 million a year. But it does sound like the AJ camp is wanting a fair market deal if AJ was a free agent, and you don't get that when you're not a free agent.
And I do wonder if they can't get a deal done, in the next week or so, where does it stop with AJ? Because I think we can feel good that they were very close to a deal, $20 million a year. AJ saw the Devontae Adams deal and said, "Wait, no, I don't want that anymore. I want more."
I wonder if it was AJ that thought that, or if it was Dandy that thought that and told him that.
Either one. Either way, it wasn't enough anymore. They wanted more.
Sure.
Whether it was AJ, Torrey, both, whatever. Now we have the Debo side of things. Let's say, Debo requested a trade. Let's say the 49ers say, no, Debo, we want to keep you. We'll do whatever it takes to keep you. So we give you $27 million a year, hypothetically.
Okay.
Is that what AJ wants? Does it just keep going up? Do they get close to a deal at 24 a year? Then Debo gets more. Does AJ want more? Because it seems like AJ wants whatever the market value is. Rightfully so, but at what point, where does it stop with Debo? With AJ, and at what point are the Titans just going to say, no, we can't do that?
I don't know.
And I think the Debo situation is very interesting.
I mean, I do think whoever gets paid first is not going to make the most money.
Yes.
Whoever gets paid second is going to make the most amount of money between AJ
and Debo.
But I do find it fascinating. I mean, that I will give you right now. The franchise tag for AJ next year would be $25.2 million.
Okay.
So, and then what's that times, what would that be? Times 1.2 would be what the second tag would be.
Mm-hmm.
So if the first tag, and this is off of the current number, which it would only go up.
First tag is 25.
25 times 1.2, $30 million for the second. So you're talking about right there,
55 across
million,
2 years.
Plus this year at 4. So you're looking at right now the Titans are committed for $59 million, roughly.
For the next 3 years.
For the next 3 years. So then what
so
you're
that's
looking
basically
at,
20.
And that goes back to the original deal, right? So the original deal was 4 years, 80, and I assume, I don't know this, but the first 3 years guaranteed. So AJ's getting that money guaranteed to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's getting what he would get if he played this year, and he's getting more upfront money, and they use the 2 tags. Now, if receivers start signing for $30 million, then that tag goes up.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's another $30 million receiver other than Tyreek Hill between now and next year, and I'm sure there will
It'd be like 27,
then
28.
now it starts to go up a little bit, but you're still in that $60 million ballpark. I see if the Titans are offering 4 years 80, which I think they are. If they're offering that on the AJ Brown front, then I think that's a fair deal. And then I think A.J. Brown, I'm not going to say A.J. should take the deal because it's A.J.'s money, it's not my money. But if you're really holding out over a couple extra million per year and you can get more money up front right now, I'd do it.
Take the upfront money, especially whenever he's been dealing with injuries.
Oh, yeah.
Take the upfront money right now.
Because none of that's guaranteed.
No.
Like, not even the 4 this year's guaranteed. So, that's tough. The Grizzlies tonight, 6:30. The Grizzlies take on the Timberwolves.
Mm-hmm.
I actually am starting to care about the Grizzlies a little bit. I don't think anybody else is in Nashville. But I'm starting to care, and I say a little bit. Like, I didn't care enough to not watch the Predators or not go to the Predators game on Tuesday because I did go to the Predators on Tuesday. But I did watch the whole Grizzlies game on Saturday. And
it's a fun team to watch.
I'm interested in that. I'm also interested, like, here's the thing that I do on SiriusXM. Because we talk a little NBA, you know, just national channel, whatever. And my whole thing is every basketball topic has to relate to LeBron, Jordan, or Kobe in some way. Not all of them, but it has to relate to some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm watching these young players right now. And my thing is this. I don't care about your excuses. If you don't win in the playoffs, you're not going to be an all-time great. You're going to be Gary Payton or Tracy McGrady. You're not going to be Kobe Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to win in the playoffs. So this era, it feels like it's kind of over. LeBron can't make the playoffs. Kevin Durant and Kyrie are already going to lose. Giannis is still good, but he lost last night. There's all these young players. Ja Morant. But there's two, especially this Anthony Edwards.
Oh, yeah, he's a bad man.
He's freaking awesome.
He's just very streaky.
So
like when he's hot, he's hot, but when he's cold, he'll score 5 points a game.
All these guys, for me, have the opportunity to become the next great one, but you have to win in the playoffs. And there's no excuses. Devin Booker, hamstring. Sorry about it, babe. Luka Doncic, calf. Sorry about it, babe. You know, you got to show up. So I hope the Grizzlies win tonight. That's it for us. We're out of here. The 6 with Elijah and Michelle is next. Stillman and Company. We're back tomorrow.